We can clap if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. If your friends don't clap, and if they don't clap, well, then no friends are fine.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast. I'm Andrea Renee, joined by Christine Steimer.
Oh, hello.
And very special guest returning, Miss Kimberly Wallace.
Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. Kim, of course, if you guys don't know, is the features editor over at Game Informer. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yes, I did it. I did the thing.
Wow.
And she and I had the privilege of spending some time together last week at Judges Week in Los Angeles. Hope you guys enjoyed our E3 prediction show as predicted by an 8-ball. We got at least one right, Steimer.
We did. That magic 8-ball did its job.
So Kim,
we need to clip that out and send it to Pete and be like, you told us to consult the magic 8-ball, and we did.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think we absolutely need to do it. And it has my fingers crossed that maybe the rest of them could potentially come true.
Except the Crackdown one. Don't let the...
Oh, yeah. Oh, there were a couple bad ones, right? Kind of a bummer. But a big thank you to everybody who tuned into our anniversary stream, who commented on our E3 predictions and gave us some of your own. And of course, I am here to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by patreon.com. So that's What's Good Games. We're going to talk more about that later because we got some cool new stuff over at our Patreon. But for now, I think we're probably just going to go ahead and jump right into the news. You might notice that the blonde nerd, Miss Brittany Brombacher, is not here. And that is because she is somewhere in the Pacific Ocean cruising to Alaska. Maybe she's actually in Alaska now. Who knows where she is?
Definitely in Alaska.
Okay, did you post a photo from Alaska?
No, but I mean, I've been on that cruise before. If she's not in Alaska by now, then she's in
They got
trouble.
lost somewhere. So she's on a little family vacation, taking a little R&R ahead of E3, and we will look forward to getting her back on the show next week. We have another special guest next week, you guys. One person that has been requested by a lot of you that's never been on the show before. The one, the only, Brandon Jones of Easy Allies.
Nice.
So that'll be fun to chat with him and to catch up and see what he has been up to. Of course, they are doing awesome things over at youtube.com/easyallies or patreon.com/easyallies if you guys want to check them out. But for now, we are going to get into some news. And then later on, Kim and I are going to talk about a bunch of games that we played at Judges Week that now the embargoes are up, including Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yes.
I know, Kim, you're super excited about this, yes?
That's the only reason why I'm here, right? It's Kingdom Hearts, right?
Well, normally Ms. Alexa Ray Carrillo, of course, would be here talking everything about Kingdom Hearts, but if you guys missed it, she announced her new gig, so she's officially working for Nintendo, and we're super happy for her and pumped Yay. That she gets to work for such a cool company. I had mentioned on Kind of Funny Games Daily, I go, there aren't many gigs that would be cool enough to leave What's Good Games for, but Nintendo is definitely one of them. So
there you go.
We're happy for her, and we're looking forward to catching up with her at E3 and saying hello and figure out what she's been working on. So this week we got a gigantic dump of info on
we need to cut that word from our vocabulary.
Info dump?
Too immature.
The word dump?
It makes me giggle every time.
Go ahead, say it, Steimer.
Dump.
I forgot to tell you guys that this is your source for nerdy video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff, the What's Good Games podcast, here to bring you the info dumps on military shooters. So EA announced that they were going to be talking about Battlefield, and man, oh man, did they bring the information. So they had a really fancy live stream that was hosted by The Daily Show's Trevor Noah, which I thought was actually pretty cool. I was a little skeptical at first, but obviously he's a very funny guy. He's a comedian, but I didn't know that he had like a secret love of Battlefield. What did you guys think of him hosting it? Did you catch any of it? Crickets, ladies and gentlemen, crickets.
I think Kim's like waiting for me to talk, and I'm waiting for her to talk.
Yeah, that was okay. You know what? I caught a little bit of it. We actually had someone on staff over there who was at the event, and he was impressed with just how much they actually information they actually gave and showed off. Apparently, the footage that they showed was in game, which is always nice instead of that whole like you don't know if it's from the game or not. But I think it's cool that whenever they can get someone with a big name who actually likes games and you can tell to host those events. Like I love Aisha Tyler at when she does Ubisoft's press conference every year. So
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, I was bummed they didn't have her last year.
Yeah,
But I did not catch any of the stream, so I cannot comment on his hosting style.
Well, you don't have to worry, Steimer, because we got you covered. I've got all of the info. Now, there's a lot here. So I'm probably not going to read all of the stuff that they went over. If you guys are looking for like super nitty-gritty details, I pulled a lot of this from Polygon. They had, I think, 5 different write-ups, really maximizing their SEO over there. But thank you for the hard work. So let's go ahead and just get started. So Battlefield 5, every player will be able to outfit and customize a number of different soldiers, and that is World War II soldiers. So as we all suspected and as the leaks kind of suggested, yes, Call of Duty is going back to World War II. But they're doing it
Call of Duty?
Did I say Call of Duty?
You did say Call of Duty.
Oh my gosh. You guys, it's been a long week. I meant Battlefield. I mean, Call of Duty did go to World War II, but that was last year.
go back, yeah.
Okay.
And then Battlefield was like, well, me too.
You guys are like, excuse me. Are you
Do you think they were super pissed? Because like they must have been working on this game for a while. And then they were like, curses! They came out before us.
Well, Activision does have way more studios working on Call of Duty than EA has working on Battlefield. It's really just DICE. And then they get some supplemental help from a couple other studios, but it's not like they're in a full rotation like Call of Duty is. But yes, Steimer, to answer your question, yes, I think that they were like, shit. They were mad.
We should have picked another war.
We should have. But, you know, it seems like their fans really wanted this. I mean, I'm personally, like, when it comes to military shooters, I'm a little bit like, wah, wah, World War II again. Not that it's not an important war. Not that we shouldn't talk about it, of course. But it's just been done. So let's get into some details. So they have this thing called the Company this time around, which you can customize a number of different soldiers in the stable, and that every soldier will be fully customizable, including characteristics such as gender, race, facial features, and hair. Hooray for customizable hair. Each character will have a designated class pulled from the 4 traditional Battlefield roles of assault, engineer, pilot, support, and medic. Now, as characters accumulate experience, they will be able to unlock different subclasses referred to as archetypes, and that will allow players to specialize down a certain path, such as an anti-tank role for a particular class. What is certain, however, is that whenever a player steps into the multiplayer game mode, they'll be playing as one of the soldiers in their company. Progress is accrued and carried over between every mode, and DICE was explicit in stating that gameplay progress has been completely divorced from cosmetic unlocks. Anything that alters the performance of your soldier must be earned through play. Vehicles will be customizable just like soldiers, and there will be gameplay and cosmetic unlocks for each. Players will be able to kit out both weapons and vehicles in their company arsenal, so you can, for instance, have 2 versions of the same rifle. DICE confirmed that Battlefield 5 will retain Battlefield 1's War Stories model for its single-player campaign. The goal, however, is to take players to overlooked or lesser-known theaters of the Second World War. At launch, Lars Gustafsson?
Dobson? I don't know
how to say it. I apologize, Lars. Players will experience combat in areas such as Norway, where they will fight battles at the north of the Arctic Circle. They will be fighting in the French countryside, Greece, in the ruins of the city of Rotterdam, and in the North African desert. In addition to the traditional multiplayer sandbox warfare that the series is known for, there will be 2 new modes: Combined Arms, which will feature teams of up to 4 players, all playing cooperatively. Grand Operations will be massive multi-match engagements that tell the story of a lengthy multi-day battle with 64 players. And the outcome of each match will have an impact on the gameplay of the next successive match. So, of course, that's something Battlefield is known for, those massive multiplayer games. And players will always be attached to a squad. So this is something that is a little controversial. There's no longer an option to join a match as a single player and go it alone. To that end, DICE is leaning into the squad mechanics in several important ways. They're extending the squad model to the social aspects of Battlefield 5. And once in a squad, players will stick together regardless of what game mode they're in. That means voice and text chat will be available between you and your squad, even from inside loading screens. At launch, Battlefield 5 multiplayer will begin by exploring the earliest parts of World War II, but new battlefields and new fronts will open up over time. Now, just as World War II expanded and changed, so too will the multiplayer experience, and DICE refers to that system as the Tides of War. What it will do is give players a sense of momentum and a reason to stick with the game over time. Certain cosmetic items, such as vehicles, weapon components, and component skins, will only be available for certain times. Now, as the Tides of War roll over, you'll be able to prove that you were there for a pivotal engagement based on items that your soldier wears into combat. So obviously this is really leaning into the games as service. And this is part of them getting rid of the premium pass, which was really a big news item this week. Every map, every mode, and every expansion will be completely free. But one controversial subject, of course, that everyone is thinking that wasn't mentioned, loot boxes. So Polygon asked for comment, and an EA spokesperson told them that there will be no loot boxes in Battlefield 5. Now, that's consistent with themes shared during the reveal event and at a pre-briefing delivered to the press earlier in the week, and that Battlefield 5 will completely divorce gameplay progression from cosmetic unlocks, as we mentioned earlier. And gameplay unlocks will only be available to be earned through play, while cosmetic items will have no gameplay effects. So
Nice.
the important part to know about this is that cosmetic items will be available for purchase through in-game currency, which is earned through play, as well as real money transactions, and at least some of that sweet cosmetic gear will be sold online, although whether it will be available through in-game currency remains to be seen. And from what we've been told, and Kim, maybe you can confirm this, there will be no random rolls. You will be picking all of the cosmetics up front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is a huge step forward. I think they clearly are taking a lesson that they learned really harshly from Battlefront 2 and saying, we're not even going to mess with it with Battlefields. We're going to just sell you stuff. And if you want the stuff, you buy the stuff.
EA has to right some wrongs, and this is a good start for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's also DICE too.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, whoops.
I'm sure they're like, look what happened. No, we're not doing that.
Let's not completely kill Battlefield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Exactly.
But I think this is more optimistic for people than they thought, because right now they have that reputation of just money any way they can. So everything that they're saying here, I really like.
Yeah, same. And the final piece of news is that it's going to be launching everywhere October 19th for PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One, and an early trial of the game will be available to Origin and EA Access members on October 11th. The deluxe edition of the game will unlock on October 16th. So, of course, if you want early access, you either got to go to Origin on PC or you got to EA Access on Xbox One. So, I think this is all cool. I think it looks good. I thought the gameplay looked good. DICE does good work, and I'm excited to check it out. I'm excited to check out the war stories and play some stuff. I don't know how I feel about being attached to a squad in multiplayer, because if you get into a squad with people that either are abusive or they're above or below your gameplay level, do you guys have any strong feelings about that either way?
I mean, I think they just will need to matchmake well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't know that I haven't played. I don't play a lot of first-person shooters like this, so I have no idea how it's been in the past. But especially in the 64-player battles, I don't know how much of a difference it's gonna make. You're gonna be in there with a squad of 4, but there's so many other people that.
That's true. That's a good point.
You're just dropping the bucket. So yeah, no, I think a lot of the stuff was good and kind of what they needed to do in order to win back a little bit of goodwill. I guess EA and DICE, honestly. So good job, guys.
All right.
I'm gonna be completely honest, probably won't play this game unless Andrea makes me. But that's just because it's not my style thing.
I'm right there with you, Steimer, but.
All right, well, I'm probably gonna make you.
That's okay. As
It'll
long
be
as we
fun.
play together, I'll probably have fun.
Yeah,
Stream it.
Yeah, we could do that. And then watch everybody just troll us about how bad we are? Probably not. No.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
All right, next story. Fortnite has announced 2 things. First thing, Epic is going to put $100 million into competitive esports for Fortnite. So this is huge. Now, they haven't given any details about where this money is going, what kind of teams they're looking for, what kind of tournament system, like literally nothing. They only announced that they're going to spend $100 million on competitive Fortnite, which is amazing and crazy at the same time. But they are making money hand over fist. So
yeah, I wonder who decided on that number. They're just like, it'd probably be cool if we said $100 million. Let's do it. Let's go all in.
yeah.
Well, the biggest esports pot before this was, I think, the Dota 2 International, which was around 20 million, I think a little less. So 100 million is.
See? You gotta...
Well, I don't think that's going to be the final pot prize. I think that that's going to go into like getting a studio and hiring casters and, you know, getting teams set up. And obviously
It says $100 million pot. So I don't know if
does
that
it?
means like split between all these tournaments that they're going to put on, they will
It's just
eventually
the
give out
pot.
$100 million. It's not. I don't think they kind of are just like $100 million, and they didn't give a whole lot of context that I've seen so far anyway.
Yeah, like literally no context at all.
But all they needed was 2 words: Fortnite, $100 million. That was all they needed.
Isn't that
And
3
people-
words, Kim? That's 3
God
words.
damn it. Shh. I can't
Yeah,
do
it says
math.
that that's prize pool. Prize pool money for Fortnite competitions in the first year of competitive play.
That's nuts. Okay, so I'm stand corrected. It can't be a single pot though. It's got to be a bunch of
No,
smaller tournaments, right?
That's going to be split throughout different ones. Because, yeah, that as a single pot would be fucking bonkers.
I mean,
I wonder how they're doing the recruiting for it. I mean, we saw everything with like Overwatch League, a lot of like, you know, people talking about them not going out of their way to include women who played. And so I wonder with this, are they doing it based on rankings? Do people have to like, you know, audition? Like, I don't know what the process is to be on a
To be a Fortnite pro.
To be a Fortnite pro. I'd like to know, but do you know what's funny about Fortnite? We had that game on our cover like 3 or 4 years ago, and nobody, it was like a blip. And then all of a sudden this year, like, it's just blown up so much, and it's so fun to see just how that lit fire, just because it was fun when I played it at Judges Week like 4 years ago, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then seeing how that game has evolved has just been really amazing.
Well, honestly, like, that game would still be, in my opinion, like dead on arrival if they hadn't built that Battle Royale mode. Like, no one was playing this game when it launched. I mean, people were, but then, like, it was like, brrr.
Yep.
And so to see that they were just like, all right, an adrenaline shot to the heart, let's go! And, like, it just fucking worked. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
it's amazing.
yeah, it's I just think back to how we had Darren, you know, like here on the couch with us streaming when they launched in early access, and he walked us through Save the World mode, which back then was just Fortnite. And then they've now called us.
That was just the game.
It was just Fortnite. And, you know, seeing that then I, like you, Kim, really kind of fell in love with this game when I saw it at Judges Week, like what feels like ages ago.
Yeah, right?
And just seeing everything that they've done in the game. And while they still have clearly a lot of work to do, at least on the Save the World side, as far as like refining the gameplay systems, the polish with the graphics and the gunplay is pretty good, but it's still early access. So
that's insane to me that it's still labeled early access, but yet everybody is playing it. And it brings an interesting question up too for like us as journalists. Like, when do you review a game? Is it when it's early? Like right now it's out, you can play it, you can pay money to play it, you know.
Yeah, but most people aren't playing the Save the World mode.
Yeah,
they're all
not
playing the free-to-play Battle Royale mode. So, like, no, you're not really paying. I mean, you can pay for cosmetic items. Yeah. If you want to be a pink bear, you can be a pink bear.
I mean,
yes, you can.
I mean, pretty cool.
All right. Well, we will keep an eye on that once they announce more details, which might be at E3 because they're making a splashy entrance with their Fortnite Pro-Am. So we knew that this was coming. Now we got a few more details. So it's 50 pros and 50 celebrities pairing up to battle it out for a $3 million prize donated to the winning duo's charity of choice. So I think that
celebrity.
What was that?
Can we guess the celebrities?
Oh, you didn't see the celebrity announcement?
No, I didn't see who it was.
Okay, I'm going to let
They
you guess in a
announced five.
second, but I just want to give a big shout out to Epic for putting up such a great prize pool that's going to charity, and how awesome it is that not only are the celebrities participating, but the streamers that are participating as well, and that they're not getting anything out of it except just for the fun of playing, which is, I think, really awesome. But okay, so they have 5 duos that have been announced. Kim, who you guessing?
Oh man, is Zac Efron on there?
No.
No, but I would love that. He better be one of the 50.
He would be great, yeah.
Oh.
Steimer, did you see the announcement?
He should like Fortnite.
Yeah.
Any other guesses?
Oh god, who's the other? Was it 50 Cent who played with Zac Efron like a few years ago?
50 Cent had his own video game.
Well, yeah, he did. That was, yeah. But I can't.
He would also be a good one for this.
Yeah, he would be. Cisco really likes to game, by the way.
He does.
That's also true. I wonder if
none
he's
of
gonna be
those
in there.
names have been announced.
You're naming some good guesses, but none of those are the ones that were announced.
But the good news, though, is that there's 50 celebrities, and they've only announced 5.
Is it a Sprouse twin?
No.
Oh, no, it's not. You're guessing really good, though.
I love
Those are really good
games. I know.
guesses.
Like, I always go online. Oh, man, they should get Chrissy Teigen. I would
I would
die for
fucking
that.
love Chrissy Teigen.
She would be
I want to
amazing.
meet her real bad.
I don't know how good she is at Fortnite, but I would watch her do literally anything.
Oh, same here, same here. You wouldn't
Yeah.
even, like, she could just pick up the controller and just, like, if she's, like, her tweets, just talk, and I'd be fine with it.
Perfect.
100%. Let's make that happen.
All right, you heard it, Epic.
Okay, so I've gotten them all wrong.
Yes.
What
But not
what are they
necessarily, because they've only announced 5. These people
It's
could
true.
be, like, coming up. You could be our Magic 8 Ball right now.
Oh, okay. Who else could there be?
You think about it, but I'm going to announce a couple. So the first,
go for it.
the first pairing, no surprise, Ninja is on the pro
yeah.
side, and he is produced with music producer and DJ Marshmello.
Wait, is Drake involved in this?
Drake is
Drake,
not announced yet,
Not announced.
but
Okay,
who knows?
Sorry, I had to double check really quick because I was like, that was an easy one. I should have had that first as a guess.
YouTuber Markiplier, who is hilarious, is now paired up with comedian. Who do you think? Popular comedian, has done work in the game space.
Jimmy Fallon.
That
Good
would be
guess.
awesome, but no.
I suck at this.
Starts with the J. You got that part right.
He co-hosted with Jeff Keighley once upon a time.
He was on a show, a TV show called Community.
Oh, Joe McHale.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be nicer to
Ding, ding,
Markiplier
ding.
than he was to Jeff on that
He was not.
Video
I did
Game
not
Awards
like
that
him
one
on
year.
that. Yeah.
They also have oh my gosh, I don't have the other ones listed here. Hold on. Wah, wah, wah. Some
I
other
thought
athletes and stuff.
Marshmallow was an interesting. I'm like, is he gonna wear that stupid head the whole time? Is that gonna be a disadvantage for that team because you won't have spatial awareness the same way?
I'm thinking he'll probably be like Deadmau5, because Deadmau5 like takes off the mouse head when he like just talks to people. for
Yeah,
the
but
most
does
part.
he publicly go out like that?
Yeah, he does. He
Oh.
usually only wears the mouse head when he's performing.
This is
Well then,
Yeah,
This
so
is also
3,000.
a really dorky take, and I only know because I follow her on Twitter. But I wouldn't be surprised if Zelda Williams said that she was going to E3 and she was doing stuff but couldn't announce it yet. So maybe she's one.
Who knows? We'll have to maybe play some
There's-
wagers.
Myth and Paul George, who looks like an athlete of some kind.
He is. He's a
He's
basketball player. Both of us right away. Basketball player.
Pokimane and designer.
The designer's a rapper.
Okay, I'm like, I don't know who that is.
He's the guy that sings the
neither.
Panda song.
What?
You know the Panda song?
No.
I'll pull it up
Can
for
we-
you.
Yeah, play the panda
And
song.
then Gotaga and Demetrius Johnson.
Oh, he's a UFC guy.
Those are the people that have been announced at this time.
Hold on, let me fast forward.
Where are the pandas?
Do you not know this song?
I've never heard this song before. But I like pandas.
I'm just over here rocking. Don't mind me. It's Panda. Okay. Where was I? I got sidetracked. There
We
are
were talking about
3,000. Wait, hold on. Are you done? What's happening?
That's it. Those
Okay,
are the
sorry.
people that have been
My
announced.
bad. 3,000 tickets will be made available for the event. Tickets will be available for purchase via email link sent to all players for $10 located in the LA area. The invites will be sent in waves until they're gone. Epic is hosting an invite-only party royale, and anyone interested in attending can swing by the official Fortnite booth on the show floor for a chance to win or receive a ticket. You must be over 18 to be eligible. So if you're planning to go to E3 and you want to go to the party royale, make your way to the Fortnite booth. We'll be there.
At the Fortnite booth?
At the party royale.
Oh, hell yeah, we're going to a party. Of course we
There's a
are.
party? I'll be like, hey, friends at
somebody say
Epic,
party?
please invite me. All right, so that's it for Fortnite. We're going to move on now because we have a lot to get through on this show. Xbox unveiled the adaptive controller. So this was written up over at the Xbox Wire. So I know this news now is a little bit late, but I thought it was so important that I wanted to make sure to bring it up. So Phil Spencer wrote, as I discussed at the annual DICE conference in February, when we truly design for all, we help make the world more equal. That's why I'm so excited about today's Microsoft Story Labs feature, which shares an in-depth look at our newest piece of hardware, which we believe will enable and empower even more Xbox One and Windows 10 gamers across the globe, the Xbox Adaptive Controller. By taking an inclusive design approach in consideration of gamers who might not be able to reach all of the bumpers and triggers or hold a controller for an extended period of time, for example, we were able to design a controller that provides a way for more fans to enjoy gaming. On our journey of inclusive design, we have taken a wider view of our fans and a more inclusive approach to designing for them. For gamers with limited mobility, finding controller solutions to fit their individual needs has been challenging. The solutions that exist today are often expensive, hard to find, or require significant technical skill to create. A number of individuals and organizations are creating custom solutions, but it has been often difficult for them to scale when most rigs need to be so personalized. Joining the Xbox family of controllers and devices, the Xbox Adaptive Controller was created to address these challenges and remove barriers to gaming by being adaptable to more gamers' needs. It was developed in partnership with organizations around the world, including the Able Gamers Charity, the Cerebral Palsy Foundation, Craig Hospital, Special Effect, and Warfighter Engaged. We worked closely with them and directly with gamers who have limited mobility to assist in our development. Our goal was to make the device as adaptable as possible so gamers can create a setup that works for them in a way that is plug and play, extensible, and affordable. So they showcased the controller in a video and announced that it will be available for $99.99 exclusively through the Microsoft Store and will offer significant value over the customized alternatives that exist today, which is 100% true. So many of you know that I sit on the board of Able Gamers, and Steve Spawn worked, and the rest of the folks over there, Mark and all those guys, worked with Xbox and gave them a lot of input about this controller. And when the first year that I met Steve and Mark was at PAX East, and they were in the Diversity Lounge. And I did a feature piece with Steve where he walked me through a bunch of different controllers. And wow, did it open my eyes to the immense hurdles that gamers with disabilities have to go through in order to get specialty controllers so that they can play the games that, we all take for granted to play. And so when I saw that this news come out, I was absolutely over the moon, and I can't thank Xbox enough for working with all of these fantastic organizations to create such an amazing piece of hardware. So definitely just wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And like you were saying, it's something we take for granted. There's one guy, I can't remember his name, but I remember watching this video of a Guild Wars 2 player, and he basically he didn't have a lot of use of his hands, so he was using a pen in his mouth and clicking the button. I was like, this man is better than me at this video game, and he's using a pen with his mouth. This is fucking incredible. It was just, we're adaptive little suckers, aren't we? We'll make it work. But it's really cool that they did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in helping out any of these organizations, obviously I'm spotlighting Able Gamers because I do work with them. They are accepting donations at ablegamers.org to help get these new adaptive controllers into the hands of the people that they are trying to bring video games to. So if you are interested in supporting them and helping spread the love with these adaptive controllers, again, ablegamers.org is where you can donate. All right.
There's something I pulled up Polygon News because I was like, I just want to see if anything else happened today.
Did we get some breaking news?
And girl, did you hear about the Sea of Thieves content?
I mean, I kind of did, but how about you inform me better?
So because I just didn't even know that there was something coming out, and it's coming out real soon. So I was like, oh. So the Hungering Deep is the first expansion, and it will hit on May 29th, which is like a few days
Tuesday.
after this.
Yeah.
Next week, right?
We'll go live. And all of the content, this will be available for free, and it will, most importantly, I think for us, actually have a story campaign with the first quote-unquote real character of the game, centered around a quest to uncover the secrets of the Hungering Deep. Mary Merrick appeared in the teaser trailer, and now he's the game's first campaign character. There will be exclusive cosmetic items. Ooh, tattoos and scars. Yes, please. Oh god. Okay, pirates now have access to a third instrument, the drum, and a speaking trumpet, which I don't know what that means. Do either of you know what a speaking trumpet is?
I have no idea.
Okay. It will allow them to project their voice to other crews across the waves. That sounds terrible. Sure, why not? And now players can display different flags. Flags will show intent. There's a skull and bones. So, if you want to be a little more aggro. And then there are other flags that are like an olive branch, which suggests that you're like peaceful, although people are going to troll the shit out of you with that olive branch flag. That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah,
no one's going to tell the truth. Everybody lies on the internet. And then, let's see, persistent content. When the campaign ends, the new AI threat and supporting infrastructure will remain in the world. This will be a standard for future expansions. While playing at launch can get you some excellent stuff and the ability to peruse the in-game quest. The world will be forever changed by the expansion. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. But I'm more interested in like, oh, there's like a little story here. I hope it's somewhat interesting.
Yeah, I think, you and I have talked about waiting for some kind of meaningful content update before jumping back in. I don't know if this is enough to get me in yet.
I think it's number one, I like that it seems fairly fast after launch. And two, I like that they're kind of moving in the direction I want it to. I agree that I don't know that I'm quite there yet, but like this pleases me. I like that they are making steps in the right direction for me as a player. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are playing it right now who still really enjoy it.
True. Kim, are you playing Sea of Thieves?
No.
No. All right. Well, we were going to potentially talk about what's happening with the PlayStation, but so basically, I'm just going to sum it up real quick. There was a call that happened, and a Wall Street Journal reporter talked to John Cadera, who's, the head of PlayStation right now, and they're like, we're sunsetting the PS4, but for another 3 years. It's going to be a really long sunset. It's
like a summer sunset in Sweden, aka the sun doesn't go down.
Yeah, it's still going to just be going. Essentially what they were saying is that, or what Cadera was saying was that they're focusing on new IP, they're focusing on software, and that we're not going to hear anything about PS5 for at least 3 years. So
I'm happy about that. Yeah.
So we can stop speculating. It's going to be period leading up to March 2021 as a time for SIE, that's Sony Interactive Entertainment, to, quote, crouch down while preparing for more growth after that point. So
why would you say that?
I don't know. Maybe
it's crouch down. Okay, maybe this is just because gamers, but my first thought of crouch down is teabagging someone.
Oh no, they're gonna teabag everybody.
Oh, that's weird. Don't do that.
Oh my gosh. It sounds like they're like, hey, we conquered this generation. We're at the top. We no longer have to focus on pushing hardware. We're just going to focus on pushing software, which is great because I think they are at a place where, I think more games is great, and I will play the games that they put out for PlayStation. They've been killing it so far, having a great year.
And they're all beautiful. Like I have zero complaints about the graphic fidelity that I currently have.
Yeah.
Could the frame rate be a little better? Sure. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with 30 frames per second, locked, or 60 frames per second, if that's what I get. I don't need unlocked frame rates. I'm good.
No, I'm all good.
I'm good.
Me too.
Cool. So how about we'll take a short break. When we come back, we are going to talk about what we've been playing. I've been playing some zombie games. Kim has been playing some robot games. And Steimer has been playing...
some zombie and robot games.
Ooh, it's going to be a good
what
one.
A combo.
And then don't forget, in the third segment, we've got lots to talk about from Judges Week, including Kingdom Hearts, Days Gone, Dreams, Divinity Original Sin, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and some other cool indie stuff you probably haven't heard of. So grab a beverage, take a bathroom break, or keep driving if that's what you're doing. Maybe you're running. I met somebody who listens to the podcast while they run. Maybe that's you. Just keep trucking along. We'll be right back.
You could do it.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the part of the show where I tell you that the What's Good Games podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/whatsgoodgames this week.
That's us.
That's us. If you missed our anniversary stream, we announced some cool new changes to our Patreon. Of course, people who support us over at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, make sure that everyone around the world, whether you listen on podcast formats, whether you watch at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames, or whether someone relays the information to you in interpretive dance, but it comes to you for free. And that is because, in part, of the wonderful folks who support us and pledge to our Patreon. So for just $1 a month, you can get access to our Patreon exclusive vlogs, which are beginning in the month of June. Right now, we have one last Patreon exclusive video, which is Britt hilariously drawing a Microsoft Paint artwork that is going to be on the postcards that get mailed out in June. So the postcard tier is also one of the things that you can get on Patreon. You can get a custom postcard from us once a month, and we'll write you a little note. I like to do really bad jokes. Sometimes Steimer writes hers when she's had too many martinis, and sometimes Britt draws on hers. You never know what you're going to get. Something different every month. We also have a new Polaroid tier, which is pretty cool. So you can get a signed Polaroid from us, and that also includes the postcard. We've got the secret segment, which is a fun thing that we do once a month. We'll record an extra little mini show. What do we talk about? It varies. One month we talked about what we were like in high school. One month we talked about New Year's resolutions, or maybe that was on the regular show. 1 month.
It's hard. Those things get really jumbled.
Steimer's like, don't try to remember all the secret segments. There's too many of them.
It's hard because you're like, we just talk all the time. So it's like, what was that for? I don't know.
It's true. I'm realizing that I did something wrong with your framing, and now your head's really big in the frame.
Mine?
Yeah. This is my fault. It's because I made the box bigger. Hold on, I'm gonna go fix it. We're doing it live, ladies and gentlemen. Steimer, while I'm fixing it, why don't you tell the folks a little bit more about our Patreon?
Oh God. Okay. Well,
Do you remember?
have one, and it's got some cool stuff on it. And Britt's really good about hopping in there and managing the community because she's the best. And we post a lot of fun stuff, and we made a lot of changes because of not because of it, but at the 1 year stream that we talked about. A few of those things Andrea has mentioned, and I'm stoked. And also, this is not really Patreon related, but I'm just talking and I'm nervous. So because of the 1 year stream, my bat dad.
You nailed it, Steimer. You nailed it.
So look out for those.
Don't forget, patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Okay, time to talk about what we've been playing.
Oh.
So, as you may be aware, this week, a couple of games came out. Kim, you have been playing Detroit Become Human, a PlayStation console exclusive. Shall we do some deep diving? Your review is up over at GameInformer.com right now, is it not?
Yes, it is. It's a very fascinating game. I was totally engrossed by this game since the moment I played it. I finished it in 2 days straight because that's all I did with my time. And it does a lot of good things for choice in games. There's all these branching paths. I had 2 playthroughs, and I played through the ending 4 times because there's so many different variations. There's even more than that. I was just talking to someone in the office this morning, and we had totally different scenes where oh, that can happen in yours. So it's great for choice in games. It does what David Cage does very well, which is the little moments between characters and the relationships but it falls into a lot of the same problems that his past games have had with like Heavy Rain, which like this game has an insane amount of plot holes that just drive me nuts, that it builds up to this and then you're like, wait a second, they never explain how that happened, or wait, that's naive, how could that happen? So there's a little twist. Like it kept me engaged. It's a hard one to review because it kept me engaged the whole time. But sometimes I was like, all right, this is a little much. I don't like how much it references. Like it's very heavy-handed. So it references the civil rights movement a lot and tries to compare it to what's going on with. I should explain like. You're playing as 3 different androids, and humans have basically in society treated androids like they're slaves, so they can do their housework, watch their kids, they control everything they do. And in Detroit Become Human, what's happening is some of the robots are starting to form free will and feel emotions, and then it's that whole thing like, when is a machine or like, this plot has been done in sci-fi before, so it's not anything unique to that. But I think where we're at right now with technology and hearing all these like robots that are coming out, and we have self-driving cars, it's very interesting to see where it could go. And I all
know it's gonna end badly. I don't know why we keep doing it. Stop building the robots.
Are gonna abuse that like crazy. Like, there's no way. Am I allowed to swear on here? By the way,
of course you are.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I was about to, and then I stopped myself. But it's so. Okay, there's that going on, but the whole game lets you choose how you want to approach the situation, so you can be very passive in how you go about, because one guy is Marcus, is just played by Jesse Williams, very handsome.
Well then, sign me up.
Yeah, well, and actually has the most the worst arc in my opinion, because his is very like black and white with choices. So it's like you either want to be passive or rebellious, and so you get those to determine. The other relationship you have is this girl named Kara, who's taking care of a little girl named Alice, who's from an abusive home. So you see scenes of abuse. Like, it isn't, I don't think games can handle that content, but I would warn people who are very sensitive to that stuff just to be aware that there is stuff like that in this game. It is very violent. It does not hold back. And it's very different because with this game, as opposed to something like The Walking Dead, which is very violent, this game is very, very realistic looking. And I will say, like, the technical like abilities and the graphics are just how lifelike it feels real almost in that sense. Like, it's very, very like, even right down to the facial hair, you can see like the little specks and stuff. So just to be warned by people. But it's an interesting thing, is like an android wanting to take care of a little girl. And then the other one is you play as a guy named Connor, who he's trained to hunt deviants, who are people who are showing and displaying emotions, which they're calling errors in their programs. So you get to kind of decide with him if you want to stick to the mission or, start to feel emotions yourself about how these people should be treated. And I think what's done well is all these characters have another character attached to them that show a different side to the world on the human side. And like, some are good, some are bad. Everybody's got their own things going on. But ultimately, like I said, after every chapter, you get a branching path that shows like all the different variations of your choices. And God, by the time you get to the end of the game, you're like, wow, if they wrote so many different scenes, so many different ways. And I think like for people who've been like, I want my choices to mean something except like path A to B, I want it to be all these, like, it's really amazing for what it does for choice in games. I just wish some of the heavy-handedness, some of this overall story writing was a little stronger. But other than that, like, despite those things, it's like Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy. You have to suspend your disbelief for a second to enjoy it. But if you do, you'll enjoy it. Like, it's not perfect in any ways, and you can spot the holes if you want to, just like you can do in movies or books. And so it really is, if you like choice games, if you like story-based games, I tell everyone it's worth playing. It's just go into it knowing that there are some problems with it.
There's a lot of plot holes. That's a bummer.
Did I say that like
Oh,
5
that
million
happened.
times?
No, you
'Cause
didn't.
that was like my biggest thing with the game is like I was playing it, I was so engrossed, and then when I stopped to think about it, then I was like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. Or they never even explained how that happened. And so it's a game that like when you really stop to think about it, you start to like spot all the little flaws, but when you're playing it, you're having a fun time. So it's this weird, not that an Android Revolution is fun by any means, that's not what I'm saying, but you know, you're into these characters and into their stories, and you want to see where they lead. And like I said, I think it's an interesting, like, people, you know, are harping on it because they're like, oh, this has been done before, but I'm like, but this is very real to like where we're going with technology. Like, it's so creepy too because you get a survey after some time that you play, and it asks you all these questions like, how many, like, would you let an android watch your children? How many like, do you think you're addicted to technology? How many hours do you spend a day on technology? So think of all the data they're collecting on this, but you get to see like how the person, what are you most excited for? I put like space travel. Like, it's all these things that, you know, we're currently thinking about and wondering like, where are we going to go next? And it is interesting because I do like, and that's good. If a game's making me think, I think at the end of the day about other things, then it's done a pretty good job. But it's just the world is really built up well. Like I said, the only thing is it needs to like, I would have liked if it less relied on comparisons to the civil rights movement and just let it speak for itself is better to say for that. And because I think too, like, you can't those things are different in many ways.
Oh, yeah.
You can't put those struggles together. And there's some like very dialogue heavy stuff that you're like, I wish you didn't go there. But other than that,
Yeah, I
if you
think one
like
of the things I liked about the way, like, the Geth story, granted, it's not the whole game, but I liked the Geth storyline in Mass Effect because it wasn't super, like, heavy-handed. Like,
Yeah,
you know, and it kind of let the Geth, like, be their own thing.
Well, it's like, let people make those comparisons in their head for themselves. They get it. They don't need it to be beaten over the head with it. And that's how it felt throughout the game. Like, androids have to sit in the back of the bus.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Because they're that, like, it's all that with segregation. There's.
I still think, are there any lines, like, so I know that there are some, like, cringe lines, because I believe you told me them. But I think, like.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was when we were at a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there are.
Like, the one line I still remember and like that resonates with me from the Gath was Legion asking, "Does this unit have a soul?" And like I think just like the simplicity of that was enough.
Yeah. And that's what this game is exploring, but it's really being heavy-handed with it. So you have to decide where you want to go with that. Yeah, there's a line. It's not verbatim, but the one guy starts off who's leading the android uprising. He's like, "I have a dream," and you're like, "Oh no, like, don't do that." Or like, there's another scene that I entered where you meet up with a black woman who's helping you like cross the border, and you're like, "Why are you helping me?" And she goes on this like speech of like, "Because my people once went through this," and it's like, oh. Oof.
So do you think that it's going to be controversial for people?
Yes, I think it'll be all over the place for people. I think people are either going to love it or they hate it, or just, I think even if you like play it, either way, you're going to be fascinated by it because nothing has been done with choice in games like this before. And even just like, despite its flaws, it's just so intriguing. It's only like, I loved Heavy Rain, and I knew after the plot holes were all shown, like, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, but for what it was, I liked it. Beyond, I liked up until we got to Navajo, and then I was like, what is going on here? And for me, it kind of like went all over the place. It's better than Beyond. I think it asks more important questions than Beyond did.
I already forgot the questions Beyond was even asking. I was so confused by that game.
Yeah, it starts, and that's the thing too. I want to like say to people, it starts off like Beyond started off really promising, and then just kind of went all over the place. This game starts off really promising, and it stays interesting, but you start to be very weary of like where it's going and why certain things haven't been explained, and it just seems like a cop out. I even played extra scenes to like make sure they weren't giving this information in like other like arcs I was missing, and that's kind of shitty, to be honest with you, if that's the way you're gonna do it. I got a little bit more answers, but nothing that was very concrete, because they build up all these mysteries and then it's like it all meant nothing. Like, not that it feels like, you know, kind of in the way of what you're gonna do. But
So similar to like in Heavy Rain, if you haven't played that game by now, sorry.
play.
Like how they'd have like Ethan blackout like with and then have a piece of origami and you're like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
and then
it's
never
even
explain
like
it.
worse than that. Yeah, it's worse than that. Because
Okay.
at one point, like, they showed this at E3, so I'm not spoiling anything. Like, Marcus can go up to people and convert them and be like, he's the android uprising leader, and could be like, you're free now. It's never explained how he has this ability, except like one little hint of it you get, but even that explanation's not very satisfying, or it's kind of like, that's freaking crazy. No.
What, is he like a code breaker hand or some shit?
Well, maybe free will is contagious. I don't know.
Oh no. I mean, maybe it is. I actually have no. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm not a robot, or maybe.
I mean, I think we're all robots
I
in a
like
way.
this because I'm actually right now rocking like God, I gotta get this, a Yorha mug from Nier Automata.
We can't see. You got to put it all the way up in front of your face.
all the way up. All right.
Oh,
In front of
there you
your
go.
face. There you go.
Got it.
Got
So
it.
actually funny because that game was also about like, you know, machines and having souls. And
Does this unit have a soul?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, especially with how popular Westworld is, and they're exploring a lot of those themes in that TV series as well. And you've got things like Blade Runner, and a bunch of different intellectual properties that are exploring this idea of sentient machines. Even in the new Star Wars movie, in Solo, A Star Wars Story, there's like a thread about this idea about the androids, and like who are they? Are they people? Are they not people? And it's interesting. It's hard for me to imagine like our world being so overrun with machines, and I kind of struggle with that debate, because my gut reaction is like, no, they're just a machine. Like, somebody designed them and made them. They're not like real things. They're literally just a machine. But then like you watch some of these shows and you're like, man, they're making a good case. But I mean,
well, yeah,
you still like, you got like parts and stuff. You don't have a heart. And then it gets like really like existential and philosophical, being like, well, what makes us people? Do we really have souls? And then I'm like, this is way too much. I can't.
People believe objects have souls, especially I think in a lot of Japanese culture and stuff. But besides that, like, I think what's interesting with this game is the way it presents it too. Is like, you're looking at this world that might be a possibility one day, and there's a good scene in the beginning which isn't as heavy-handed, but like, humans are mad at machines because they're taking their jobs and they don't know how to like earn money. If you can have a machine do it better than a human, and we've kind of seen that a little bit, with the self-checkouts and everything, where like, oh, but people are losing their jobs for that.
Well, the car industry as well.
Yeah, exactly, there you go. And it makes you think, like, yeah, of course humans wouldn't be happy about this, because then you take away the stuff that like makes people have drive and motivation to have anything with their lives. Like, if you could have everything done for you easily, everybody would be like, oh yeah, that'd be fun for like a little bit.
We'd be like Wall-E. We'd all turn
say Wall-E.
We'd all turn into like big fatties in like little floating beds.
Wall-E.
Like I said, I gave the game an 8, just a solid 8, and it's because I feel like it's really ambitious. It has its flaws, but it really, at the end of the day, I can't say I didn't enjoy playing it, and I can't say that I didn't sit there thinking about it after I finished. So,
well,
yeah,
thank you so.
David Cage does like interesting things, which is why even if his stuff doesn't quite like hit a home run, I always think that his stuff is intriguing, and it's like usually pretty well polished, and it's a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So like, if you really, I'd say I put it better than Beyond, maybe a touch below Heavy Rain. So
below Heavy Rain, interesting.
I really liked Heavy Rain, though. People give me so much shit for that.
Oh, okay.
I just
Is
thought.
there a Jason moment? Jason?
No, I'm sure there are moments. I guarantee there are moments that I will not spoil because you have to experience for yourself that are that are gonna catch on as like memes or other things, and you'll just be like, even for me, since I was like, really, that's what's gonna happen. That's how I'm gonna solve that problem. But
I can't wait.
that's
I'm
part
excited.
of the fun of it, right? Is it's like it's so absurd. It works in a weird way too. But no, I'll warn everybody: no awkward sex scenes. At least that was avoided.
Whew.
I like the awkward sex.
Steimer's like, "Aww."
Is there an awkward shower scene where I get naked for no reason whatsoever?
No nakedness. But there are some parallels, I'd say, to Heavy Rain with like the certain situations they put you in. You're running through. It's basically, you know, QTEs, quick time events for like fights, investigations, and you're doing a lot of chasing.
Everybody to die because I'm terrible at those.
Oh, I got the worst ending on my first playthrough, and I was like, I should have freaking known better. Like, honestly, I'm too trusting of people. It's just, and I couldn't be mean about something, and it's not that you're mean about it, but whatever. So then I replayed it a couple of times, and I'm like, oh, so that's like, oh, that's how that turns out. Oh, I'm like, well, I just know if there's ever like an Android uprising, I just would ruin everything, and it would never. I wouldn't survive it because I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trust this person here. No, don't do that. Also, there's a but although there's no like sex scenes, there's a shoe horned romance that's little
Awkward.
It just comes out of nowhere. It's not built up too well. I just feel like don't put the romance in the game if you can't make it interesting. I don't know. I feel like so many people are like, well, this game needs a romance, and then just
that's how I felt about Beyond.
Yeah, it's the same thing there. It's like you're
just like, what the fuck?
Together.
I just like this person that was being a dick to me in the last scene. I don't understand. Why am I in love with you? I don't. What? No.
These are the questions of our time.
I should totally stream it or like play it together. I play it side by side too to just see some of the different variations. Because it's that deep and amazing in the way that everybody, because I played at a preview event before I did this, and all the screens around me had different things going on in them depending what path you choose, which I just think that's what people have been asking for from games. So this is your chance to see, like, do you actually really like that? Like, how far do you want choice to go?
Very good points. We'll definitely have to, once Britt gets back, maybe we can talk about doing a spoiler cast.
Oh, I
would
love to see Britt on this. Oh man.
Well, thanks so much again. If you guys want to check out Kim's full review, that's over at GameInformer.com. On to another game that came out this week, and thank you to Xbox for providing both Steimer and I codes for State of Decay 2. Britt, of course, will have her thoughts when she returns from her vacation. So this was kind of pivoting to Xbox's first-party exclusive that is on Xbox One and PC. This was the long-awaited sequel to State of Decay, and it's a 4-player co-op zombie adventure. We talked about it after a preview event last month. I was not super impressed when I saw it then, and I have to say, I've warmed up to it a little bit. Okay. Having fun, but as I mentioned on Games Daily earlier this week, man, oh man, the jank is real.
That's what I've heard. Technical issues kind of galore.
Yeah,
I didn't have that many problems.
So this is what I've been hearing. So I didn't go on a rant on Games Daily. I was talking about some of the things I like, but I also said that I thought in this day and age, in 2018, we're talking about a first-party supported exclusive, right? So Microsoft is giving money towards the development of this game. That I thought the level of brokenness in the game was unacceptable. Because I'm having bugs every few minutes in my playthrough. And it's unfortunate. And I hope that they are going to put out a patch and that some of these issues will go away. And when I talked about this very strongly on the show, a lot of people reached out to me in the comments and were like, I haven't had any issues with my game. And then a lot of people were like, I've had issues with my game. And it seems like as any game that has bugs, your experience is always going to be is always going to determine your opinion of the game. So I told people, I was like, listen, if you're not experiencing the bugs, that's awesome. But like, there's a couple other things that I'm having trouble forgiving. And I think if this was like an indie game, I would not have any of these issues. I'd be like, oh, they did this cool co-op experience and it's fun and the gameplay loop is addictive yet a little bit unrewarding, but I don't really care because there's something super addictive about like the go out and scavenge, come back and drop off, go out and scavenge, come back and drop off like loop that you do. I just wish there was more happening. I'm about 6 hours in and I haven't really gotten any story bits at all yet. And I know that you kind of got to piece those together and there's not really a whole lot of story in this game. But I mean, some of the bugs that have been kind of bothering me, like when I go back to my community, the gate always looks like it's open, but I have to hit the open button and then the texture of the gate closed pops back in and then it opens. That's like literally every time I go to my community that happens.
Did you guys play the first one?
No.
Okay. Yeah, the first one was like a kind of a cult hit that came out of nowhere that was just like a smaller game, still had technical issues. So I was very curious when they went bigger and had more money to work with how it would shape up. And it's kind of disappointing to hear that there's still stuff like that in it. And maybe it was just being more ambitious this time around. Like ambition sometimes costs you in a way if you're not completely ready for it either. I don't know what your thoughts are on you guys seem to have two different experiences, which I think is funny because I've had that happen to me too, where, readers have been like, oh, how could you do this? I had so many bugs. And I'm like, I didn't have that experience. Like, I can only speak to what happened with me. But the fact that it's happening to numerous people and people are waiting on patches for it leads me to believe that it probably needed a little more testing before it was put out.
I feel like
it's weird because like I read a lot about bugs and I was like, and so when I went to fire it up last night, I was like, okay, prepare yourself. Like I'm sure it's gonna be real janky. And then the only thing that I noticed was just like the frame rate dipped sometimes, and I was like,
that's so lucky because when I go to my community, like the different little areas that you build around your community, those whole things just pop in and out. So like when I go to drop off a rucksack, for example. Like the little like graphical thing that shows you like this is the area where you drop off the rucksacks. Half the time, and I'm not exaggerating, it's just not there. And I just know where to go and hit the Y button because that's where I've always gone to drop it off. But then sometimes I'll be standing there and like the texture will pop back in and it'll like pick up my character and like move it to the side. It's just weird. It's everywhere. And characters will just like stop, the animations and the mouths will just like stop moving altogether. And they'll just be like stuck.
I didn't notice that. I guess I just didn't really care.
Right.
Like to me, this game, I think I would care more if it was like a real story-driven game, but since it's kind of not, I'm like, meh, your mouth's not moving, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I got really bothered when I first, and I don't want to bring up past things, but when I first played Mass Effect Andromeda, it was way early, and my girl's hair wouldn't animate right, and it just, in every scene, like, it was trying to have highlights, but it was just like this weird floaty thing, and it distracted me so much that I'm like, I can't play this until I fix this, and you know what? I'm not picking another hairstyle because that's the one I like. Like it was just me being stubborn about it, but I don't like it breaks immersion for me if it's a very story heavy game like you said. But if it's something like this where it's like there's not much, you're making your own stories, I feel like, by participating in that world. So
yeah,
but it can be distracting.
I'm with you.
Fun bug. Now that I think of it, this again, like it was so dumb, I didn't even like really, it didn't detract from my experience whatsoever. But I like switched to a different player or a different person in the community, and she looked normal, like different, and then I went back to the base, and then she like transformed into one of the other characters, and I was like, wait, what? Like her face just like went to one of the other people, and I was like, wait, who, what? And so I went to the things to make sure that I was still the same girl that I was before, and I was, and then as I walked around, her face like popped back to what it was supposed to be. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know, to me, like the bugs that I care about are like more game impactful shit, like like you said, like you're constantly like if things are popping in that weren't there, or
losing
if like
your save is a big one.
That's
That
the
that one's
biggest
killer.
one.
Like I have no patience for that. Like my time is limited as it is, and when I play a game, I do not want to repeat content because of a bug that didn't
Oh
let
no,
me
I
advance
won't.
or get
I will
smoked.
just. I'm done
That's
playing
it,
that game.
yeah.
Agreed. And so far, I have not run into any game-breaking bugs. But when we played before, and I haven't played any multiplayer, though. So when we played before multiplayer, we experienced a bunch of crashes. So I haven't gotten to test that yet. Steimer, maybe you and I can check out some multiplayer and see how it goes. But that aside, besides the fact that I'm like irritated that there's so many bugs. And like, listen, I know, please don't like at me. Like, I know the games have bugs. Like, people coming at me being like, but Bethesda, they always get a pass for all of their bugs. And I was like, no,
The
they
games
don't.
are giant.
They are. They are giant.
Compared to State of Decay, like.
And I'm just like, listen, I get that all games have bugs. Assassin's Creed have bugs. Fallout has bugs. Like, games just have bugs. I get that. But like, my point, and the reason I'm mad is because, and I'm not mad, I'm really just more irritated, is that like, they're constant in my game, and that sucks. And that just like, it takes me out of it. And I'm just trying to fucking pick up some medical rucksacks so people in my fucking community turn that frown upside down, because I hate seeing that morale is low. It bothers me.
Everyone is massively depressed right now in my community.
Oh.
And here, okay, so this is like, so I've been playing for a few hours, and I'm like doing okay, right? I'm like, all right, this game's not that bad. Okay, I got the food, I got the thing, I'm gonna build a garden. Like, I'm like, okay, I've got like a little groove going here, everything's fine. And then I go to like build one, I'm like, okay, let's build a workshop because I have enough building supplies to do that. We have plenty of food. We have plenty of medicine. We have plenty of the things that you would want to be happy. But as soon as I got rid of all my building materials, everyone's fucking mad. And I'm like, why would you care if you didn't have a supply of like stone or wood around? Like, is that really so important that you can't fucking live anymore? You're just so depressed with your life because you don't have stupid building materials to add on to this dumb commune? Like, I don't know. That made me upset because I was doing really well.
They are
And
whiny
then
bitches. Whiny.
that one thing. And I was like, this just doesn't make any sense to me logically. If I had zero food, I would get it, right? Like, yeah, everyone's gonna be pissed because they can't fucking eat. But for them to be mad that there's just no literal building materials around just drives me crazy.
That's a good
dumb.
point, though.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to give it a couple more goes. There are other games that I want to, try out, but much like Sea of Thieves, I'm like, I guess I wait until they patch it and it gets better. And I'm like, this is now like kind of Strike 2 with Xbox first party exclusives for me.
Well, not just Xbox, but how many times do we say this? I was actually having a really interesting conversation with Jeff Keighley, who is like, what if you just never downloaded any patches for a game and just played it purely at its essence when it released? And just like, because sometimes there's patches and you don't really think they're changing much or anything, but like what you got back, if you go back to the days when like you just got the disc and that's what it was. And now we sit here and we're like, we see these games released, and they are much more ambitious. So they are obviously more difficult to execute well. But I can't tell you how many that I've said, and it happens more and more each year, where I'm like, I'll just wait till they patch it. And that's exactly how I feel about State of Decay 2, because people have been telling me about the bugs. I'm like, well, I'll just wait till they have a couple patches. But then what happens is I never go back, because then the buzz is over and nobody's playing anymore.
But everyone has this nostalgia wheel of like, games didn't used to have patches, and you're like, yeah, so if they were fucking broken, they were fucking broken.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like,
at least they can fix it.
Like, Quest for Glory 4 had a game-breaking bug in it. And you were just like, what were you going to do? You were going to do literally nothing. Eventually, the internet worked a way around it where, like, you could download this thing off the internet. Basically, like an item, which is the item you needed.
Internet can do some good sometimes.
The internet did good there, but it was like, you would have paid money for this game and then just not been able to play it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what the answer is, because like I said too, like, do I want the ambition of a game to go down? I want developers to keep trying new things. It's just sometimes I play these games and I'm like, would another month or two made this any better? I don't know. I don't know if they needed more testing or what, but I feel like we get into these places, and I've just been saying this, like even like Kingdom Come Deliverance, I really wanted to play that game, but I was waiting until, and I've recently, started picking that up because of the fact that they've patched now and fixed that save system that people didn't like and other things.
I think the thing that I noticed most about my time with State of Decay, and the thought that just came to my mind, my instinctual reaction to it was, this game is slow. Like, this is just a slow game. And, like, to me, I wouldn't go back to it unless I'm doing co-op with, like, somebody else. Like, just because I'm like, all right, I'm like, you sneak around everywhere because you don't want to alert the zombies. That's slow. You're probably taking them out one at a time. Slow. You're probably sitting there holding Y for fucking ever to search things slowly so that you don't make noise, so that you don't attract more zombies. And I'm just like, okay. Like, I get it.
So it doesn't have like a strong like routine pull, like say a game like Stardew Valley or something like that.
Oh my god, I love
like,
Stardew Valley.
So do I. Where you're just going, or I think we talked about this before, but going around and around doing this like similar things, but still feel like you're making progress and advancing somewhat, and like having some variation on what you can do. Because there's those comfort games. Like I consider Stardew Valley definitely a comfort game where I'm like, I can just keep going back to this, and I, will do similar things each day, and that doesn't change the fact that I still feel like, hey, I'm making money, I'm getting somewhere here. I talked to this person, I gave them a gift. Now they love me. It's beautiful.
I know, right? Here's a turnip. Enjoy your life.
If only it were that easy, I would give everybody turnips.
Dude, if that's how you made people like you, you're like, here's an egg. I love you. They were like, I love you too. You've given me 30 eggs. This is amazing.
Life would be so much easier.
Why is life not like this? It would help me out a lot.
Because we don't live in Stardew Valley. So, do you have any parting thoughts, Steimer, on State of Decay before we move on to your robots?
Oh yeah. No, just like what I said before. It's more of a management loop that I think will probably be more fun with other people. I find it fine on my own. It's just not something that I gravitate toward. So if you are really like super into that, like for me, I didn't run into a whole lot of. I've run into nothing game breaking, so I would just play it now. But that's just me. That's my 2 cents. But yeah, and then I jumped back in to good old Horizon for some other robots.
Yay! I love that. Sorry, that's like I love that game so much.
No, I love it too. That's great. And before
it makes me smile.
Before you go into your thoughts on the Frozen Wilds, which of course was the expansion that came out last fall, I have to give a giant thank you to whoever our secret art gifter was. So we posted it on the What's Good Twitter account. We were gifted this beautiful glass piece of artwork where it says What's Good Games in the Horizon Zero Dawn font, and then there are like 4 different Aloys at the bottom of the screen, and they each have a different color hair to represent the 4 of us at What's Good. And there was a message inside that says, always remember the journeys you had together as you move forward to new adventures lying beyond the horizon. And it was just like such a thoughtful, sweet gift. So it wasn't signed by anybody. So whoever you are out there that sent it, it was very kind. And when I redesign the studio, which is happening soon, I've started amassing furniture and microphone boom arms. We're gonna try to get it up on the wall in here somewhere. So thank you for that. So Steimer, robots.
Robots. Yes.
How have you been finding the Banuk?
Into Frozen Wilds. Oh, go ahead. What?
Oh, I said, how have you been finding the Banuk?
Oh, it's good. It's very good. I don't know why I jumped back into this. I think because after God of War, I was like, I don't know what I want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling strange, and like no video game will be better than this.
It's hard. That's what everybody says after they finish God of War. It's like, I don't know what to play now. What is even gonna feel like that?
Yeah, and so then I was going through like just the titles on my PlayStation, and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't finished that DLC. Maybe I'll pop back into that snowy tundra. And I've still really been enjoying it. Like it's a kind of comfort food game for me now too. And it's not even really an issue, but I will say like, holy bejesus, the new robots they added in that are fucking hard.
So hard.
And I'm level 51, and I feel like I do no damage.
I was really high level when I was taking them on too, and I was like, but then I would find like ways to cheat the system, like go up on a rock where they couldn't reach you and just like shoot it. Yeah, I cheesed it so many times to get through some of those boss battles. I almost felt bad, but I'm like, if they put this here, there's a reason. They expect people to stand on this cliff and use it for what it's good for.
I also stood on a cliff once and I was like, pew, pew, pew. I was just like,
oh yeah, no, you gotta cheese it. You gotta definitely cheese it through those monsters in the beginning.
I don't think it's cheese it. I think that's strategic thinking, damn it.
Right? Like you can't face tank that. Like that's just not gonna work.
Would you jump into an area with a machine like that? No, I would strike from afar, from a very, very far, nowhere near it, where I could still hit it and make an impact. But that's my opinion.
So I guess my only thought on that was like I was concerned that maybe it's not balanced for the level that they intend, because I think it says it's level 30 something content theoretically, and I'm like, if I'm level 51 and I'm having a hard time with this, I cannot imagine what this would feel like at this level. So I think that they maybe messed that up a little bit. I finally got enough blue gleam to like get a new bow. I also feel like there's not enough of that. Give me more. I feel like I'm broke as a joke, and I feel like I'm almost done with this content.
I always feel like I don't have enough money in that game, and I also feel like I've upgraded everything so I could carry as much as possible, and it's still, I have too much. And it's like, I hate dropping things because I'm a hoarder.
Same.
So...
I hate encumbrance. It's dumb.
Yes, it makes me so mad because I'm like, well, what if I need this later? I'll be that person with like 99 of an item at the end of the game and be like, but I was waiting till a battle got really hard where I really, really needed it. But for that game in particular, I constantly, because I just love the routine of it, the flow, just being able to gather stuff, trying to get like better weapons, everything. So I was picking up everything and anything, and I was like, oh, this should be fine. I'm upgrading constantly how much I can carry. I'm like, it's not fucking enough. I need more space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not run into the space issue, but I do hoard, but I don't hoard to extremes. Like when I notice I'm running out of space, I'm like, all right, let me go through here and clean this out. And I try and like do my best. So I haven't run into that anymore where I'm like,
it cracks me up because I sell my shit off all the time for money, and I'm still having this problem. I guess it's just I don't know.
Too much stuff.
It's my mom. I'm just gonna blame her for all of this. This is why I hoard, because
I think that's fair.
Yeah, you have to blame it on someone. But
who better than your mother?
Right. My mother is lovely, but yeah.
Yes, I'm sure she is. The main story, I think I'm finally getting to like the interesting part.
Yeah, that one takes time to pick up.
I'm kind of like meh on it so far. Like I'm intrigued as to like what will be at the end of it, but the thing along the way, I'm kind of could take it or leave it. I just want to know. I want to know the end thing. I feel like the end thing will be good.
When I was playing it, I definitely had the same feelings that you had with the story being like slow, where I was just like, I'm just happy to be back in this game again and playing it and whatever. And I cared more about being back in the world than, and going through the story, I was like, I guess this is a little interesting, but also just wanted to be playing an expansion of Horizon. So anything would have done for me at that point. But yeah, definitely it picks up. It gets better. I'll say that. So tell me what you think when you finish it.
I will. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Andrea made me stop playing it. She was like, play State of Decay. I'm like, okay, okay, yes, I should do that.
Andrea, I'm sure this has come up a few times about people saying you should cosplay as Aloy. Have you ever thought of it?
Yeah, I've thought of it, but that costume is so intricate and has so many small pieces that I don't know. I would have to like pay someone to just make it for me. And I know that there's a couple like really good Aloy cosplayers out there. I would like to carry around like a fake bow. That'd be cool. But I don't know how I would feel about like having to wear all that fur. But I guess it would depend on how which costume I pick from hers. I really like the Shield Weaver armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
But trying to do that as cosplay might be challenging.
You'd also make
you'd have to get like LEDs.
Right? Yeah.
You'd also make a good Risei from Persona 4. Just saying.
Oh.
Senpai.
Thank you.
I feel like you have no idea who I'm talking about.
I really
so
don't. I really have
zero
no
idea.
idea whatsoever.
But it's really easy because it's just you put your hair in high pigtails, like high pig ponytails, and like a schoolgirl outfit, and you're
Wait,
done.
so, wait, what's her? How do you
And
spell
you're
it?
secretly
Say
a pop-
Rise.
Persona. Images. Oh, that's cute. She's got a cute outfit. I could do this.
Yeah, you
Oh wait,
could.
she's like in a bikini. What?
well,
Oh, that's
don't
a
do that
different-
one. Yeah, don't do
She's
that
a
one.
model.
Yeah,
So.
don't do that
Oh,
one.
I see. So she's got like a little, like she's got little headphones. Oh yeah, I could do this. No, probably not though.
You're gonna get so many comments with people telling you to either cosplay as Risei or Aloy now. And
Probably.
I'm gonna see who's gonna win out. Aloy will probably win out because Persona's more niche, sadly. But
If only I had time to cosplay at one of these shows. Someday, I will take a day off of working at one of these trade shows just to cosplay. But who knows when that's going to be. So, ladies, this has been fun. We have another section of hands-on stuff that Kim and I got a chance to play at Judges Week. There was...
yeah, we got to hang out.
We did.
In
It was
person.
fun.
Not over the webcam.
In person, where we got to drink wine and play video games, and Kim got to teach me all about all of the Japanese games, and I was like, I don't know what's happening in this game.
It was very cute because Andrea would be like, "Wait, how did you get there? What did you do? What's going on now?" And it was fun.
Are you speaking
It was fun.
specifically about Dragon Quest? I feel like you are.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take another short break. When we come back, we'll have more gameplay for you. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the third segment of the What's Good Games podcast. So, as you guys have noticed, Miss Kimberly Wallace is here from Game Informer, and we both were at the Game Critics Awards Judges Week last week. So, I don't know if I explained this on the show. So, the Game Critics Awards are a select group of media that are invited to play a bunch of games at E3 that we vote on them. There's a bunch of different categories that we vote across, and so the idea is to try to play as many games as possible. And because E3 is such a massive show now, a lot of publishers will bring their games to Judges Week ahead of time. We sign a bunch of like legal documents saying that we can't talk about it, except when they say that we can talk about it. And that's what we're going to do right now. So luckily, there was some really cool stuff there that we can now talk about. The first big one that, of course, you know, the embargo released a week ago from today was Kingdom Hearts 3, the long-awaited next installment, the next numbered installment in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So we went to an event. It was actually the last event of the whole week. It was on the Promenade in Santa Monica, and there was a bunch of people there, including Tim Geddes from Kinda Funny and a bunch of other invited press. And they did a panel, and then we got to play. So
Can you tell them what you did at the panel?
I did not tell them what I did at the panel. Okay.
Oh, I was like, what? Oh,
It had been a long week. We had seen, I think Greg tallied it at 40 games. And this was the final game of the week. And we sat through a panel. And Nomura-san was there at the panel. And the community manager for Kingdom Hearts was there. And they, of course, were translating everything from Japanese into English. And it just went on a little longer than it probably should have. And the reason it was a little frustrating that it went on so long is because they didn't give out any new information on the game. And so I was just a little perturbed that here I am like taking notes and like nothing is new. And it's like a super long panel. And then at the very end, the community manager makes a big show of saying, all right, the thing that everybody has been waiting for, the release date of Kingdom Hearts. We know that you all want to know. And then he looks at Nomura-san and says, when is Kingdom Hearts 3 releasing? The Nomura-san says something in Japanese. And then the translator says, we will have more to say on that in early June. And I said, ha! Just like that. Out loud. Like,
This moment may or may not have been brought to you by a wine.
I mean,
Andrea
yes.
also dropped her phone during this presentation.
I was taking notes. It wasn't
Uh-huh.
like I was being disruptive intentionally. That was an accident. So I scoffed because I was frustrated. I was like, why are you making a big show about telling us the release date and then you don't give it to us? And then you say early June. Just say it's coming at E3.
Here's what I'm going to say about Square. They should not make a big deal about release dates because they threw a whole like event for the Final Fantasy 15 release date and then didn't make it. And I like when a developer's like acknowledges I'd rather them take more time to finish a game and get it to the state where it needs to be in. But I just think it's funny that they're so like, let's talk about the release date. And you're like, are they really going to hit that? I don't know.
Like, are you sure you want to talk about it?
Are you sure you want to commit? Then again, how long have we been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3? I was like in high school when the first game came out, college when the second game came out. Let's not talk about where I'm at now in my life, but I feel like I've hit every milestone possible since then. I'm an engaged woman now, I guess. Like, so that's my
Wait, when's your wedding?
Oh God, I don't know. Here's the problem. We're gonna get really off track.
Never mind. I was gonna say it's gonna release like around your wedding.
It should. I actually tried looking into how much a wedding would cost at Disney, and they have different tiers. And like, if you can't like front up, like I think it's over $7,000, you can click a point that's like, it's just a dream. Like on their site, like they even make that joke. It's like, that's kind of rude because they're like, what's your budget? And I mean,
I don't have one, and they're like, LOL.
Yeah, exactly. So fun fact.
They like pat you on the head. They're just like, that's nice of you to want to try here, but
I think what it is that we've been waiting for this game for a long time. There's a lot of expectations around it. There's a lot that these spin-off games have like added to where the story's going to kind of just give fans that one little taste to keep them while they wait for 3. But it all comes down to 3, where it finishes this arc that we've been following for all these years. And to finally play that after waiting so long was just like kind of surreal, but it's kind of like speaks to the fact that like this game should have been out by now. I've seen a lot of people, like someone was teasing me at work today. They're like, everybody says that Kingdom Hearts 3 looks like a PS2 game. And I was like, what did you think was going to happen with the graphics? I just want to know. Like, I think the graphics look fine. I think they look better than the series has back in those days. But like some people are like, it's not enough. It's not enough. What did you expect?
I think what we expected was, when you look at what's coming out for console right now in 2018, something that was at least, like on par. Like I would say to you, Kim, do you think the graphics in Kingdom Hearts 3 are better, equal, or worse than the graphics in Final Fantasy 15?
Worse.
But they're different art styles.
Yeah, they're different arts. Like, that's why I'm saying with that art style, I don't know how you make it any better than what they did add, which is making the areas bigger, adding verticality, making the battle system more complex. It is a spectacle of all sorts, that battle system, into more than it's ever been. You have Keyblade transformations, you have links that are like summons in past games, and then you have your magic, and then on the other hand, you have attractions. You can call attractions into frickin' battle, which
That's pretty
Disney
cool.
fan of me loves. It just
You call attractions?
Like literally, Steimer.
Big Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
Me and Andrew are like teacups because the teacups were in there, and we got really excited.
Wait, does it make the other people dizzy?
You have to spin around like you're in the teacup and try to like maneuver into them. It's fun. It's like
Wait,
you're
what?
on. Yeah. Like you're controlling where the teacup, like the direction of it goes, so you can slam into the enemy and spin them.
I have a
but
great
does it make the enemy dizzy, or are there no status effects?
I don't think there's status effects. I think it's just pure DPS.
There's also the pirate ships in there, like other things. My only worry is like it feels almost like it's too much. Like they're trying to like make you bam, 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 boom. Like, oh, now do this, now do that, well, now this. Like you can, like the Link. We saw the Wreck-It Ralph and Ariel Link, which were very cool, but I'm also just like, I'm watching this command bar more than I'm watching like the battle at hand, and that's problematic for a game like Kingdom Hearts, which is very action focused, where you need to be paying attention to dodge out of the way. And that's my only big criticism of it. Like, I didn't think the graphics were bad at all. And in fact, I'm happy they finally put Pixar in the game, and we're going to have that Toy Story and Monsters Inc. And, you know, there's still worlds I think they haven't announced yet, so.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I didn't think the graphics like looked horrendous or anything. But when I was talking to Tim about it, he was like, "It looks like you're playing Pixar," and I was like, "That's a stretch." It looks good, but not that good. I mean, Pixar is like I said is like setting the bar for animation.
I'm not putting it up there. I just don't know what people expected, except to have like more high def, like more detail and like a gloss, like just with the art style that it is. I don't think you can do something that's like comparable to Final Fantasy quite there. And two, we only saw, let's be fair, we only saw one boss, and we only did part of the Toy Story world. So
totally. I mean, and that was my caveat through my entire time talking about this on Games Daily, was like, we've only seen a little slice of what this game has to offer. But I wanted to let you know, Kim, in my notes, since Kim and I shared a station, she was playing most of the time, and I was furiously taking notes, trying to understand everything. I have in quotes, all these years, the camera still sucks. I have that written in my notes. That you said.
Dude.
I said this, and I knew I was gonna get like people. I wrote it in my preview. I even when I did my preview for the site on Game Informer, I wrote about that, and people kind of got a little mad at me about it. But I'm like, how like Square's cameras just aren't great. Like even Final Fantasy 15's camera isn't that compared to every other game that's out there. And I'm like, they still can't figure out, because even with us, we were like kind of like, oh wait, oh I guess we go there. Like, oh, if you don't lock on to a freaking enemy, you are screwed. Like you don't know where your next hit's gonna go or where you're gonna fly to. And even then, you're not guaranteed. So yes, I love that you have a quote from me.
This game's taken 8 years to develop, and we still have a shitty camera.
Oh, man. I love the genuine reactions. You guys should have seen me playing that. You should have also seen me and Andrea. We're like, ooh, the aliens from Toy Story. We got so excited over
the Disney stuff is like the reason to play this. And I mean, and I obviously don't have any emotional attachment to Sora or any of the other characters that are in the Kingdom Hearts series, but I have such a love and nostalgia for Disney. We all do, right? We all grew up on Disney.
That's what I said. It's like a trip to like Disney World or Land. Like you're experiencing that through a video game, which is very endearing in itself. And then if you've been following the series and everything that's going on with the build up, it's exciting in that right too. I was saying today, my coworkers were giving me shit because they always do about Kingdom Hearts. I'm like the biggest fan in the office, and nobody quite. I go, you either get it or you don't. Let's just say it. Like you either get Kingdom Hearts or you don't. I get it. I get all you fans, like why this is so important, like why we put up with all the delays and being like, well, you know what, this spinoff wasn't that bad. It gave me this information. Now I gotta see. Oh God, that was a cool reveal. Like I've just been in it now. Oh my God, I want it. So, oh my God.
Alexa Ray left this.
Did she leave that there? Was she crazy?
Did.
She should have taken it. I'm like, I gotta yell at her.
She didn't leave it. She didn't abandon it. It was given with purpose.
Yeah, I'm going to put it, I'm going to mount it. So I was supposed to mount it after our anniversary stream, but since I realized I was going to be moving a bunch of furniture around, like rebuilding some stuff on set, that I was going to I should wait till I'm done with that before I mount it.
Me and her said we're going to play the game next to each other if we can, like be in the same room and just cry during the entire thing, because we've been waiting for this for so long.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, I can see why people are into it. And for anyone who's interested, if you missed it, Alexa Ray gave us the definitive way to play Kingdom Hearts to prepare for Kingdom Hearts 3. You can find that video at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. And don't forget, she also has, under the Boss Fight Books label, the Kingdom Hearts 2 book that she is the author of that you can check out as well if you are looking for some extracurricular Kingdom Hearts reading or watching or listening.
It's great because whenever me and Alexa were at events together, we just hold hands through the announcements and just be like, "This is it's happening! Oh my god! Oh my god!" And it's weird because no series, I'm gonna be honest with you, gets me giddy like that, and I don't even I just get it. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't even know why. I just get it, and I'm just like, I'm in it, and I'm on for this crazy ride, and it. Like I said, when we're doing those Keyblade transformations, because you have 2 transformations for early Keyblades, then 3, and all of a sudden you're going from a rocket with Woody and Buzz on it to an unwieldy rocket going into them, and then you have this huge hammer. Then you have double yo-yos. Come on now, this is insane, and it changes the way you play when you do each transformation because each weapon handles differently, and I think that's a different dynamic to the series that we have not seen, and I think that really will be the difference maker. I saw all the callbacks to things that we like about the series. Okay, big bosses. There's a funny little thing with them with helium speaking with the helium, which I'm like, Andrea, write this down. This is important. Andrea's
speaking with
oh yeah, I
helium
have it written. It says Goofy inhaled helium, and then I have in parentheses Woody maybe, and it says, "Get a load of me, Buzz. I sound like an alien."
Okay. It's just the little things because it's it takes itself seriously and then it doesn't, and that's what I kind of like about it. Fundamentally, Kingdom Hearts is this basic thing: light versus dark. Will the dark overcome the light? Whatever. Very simple, very much but then when you get into it and the friendships that these characters build with each other, there's some really touching scenes that are done well. So I'm just gonna say,
slightly saltily at dinner, I think I was talking to Tim. They were talking. You guys were talking about the event, and I was like, "Did they go Kingdom Hearts? It's about the power of love and friendship." And he was like, "Yeah, actually,
yeah,
they totally did.
It is."
And I'm like, I've literally never played this game.
Theme.
Yeah,
universal theme. Everybody can relate to Steimer. God damn it.
And the
lucky people in life can, I guess. But I think I've waited so long to play this game, and to finally be it's real was a really memorable moment for me. Do I recommend that Square does this with every title? Absolutely not. I wish that I didn't wait this long. I bought my PS3 for the reason that I was Kingdom Hearts 3 will eventually come out on here. I gotta get this because the PS2 is such an RPG machine, so I just thought it would go on. But now we're way into the PS4 life cycle, and we still don't have a release date.
Do you think this will be the last proper Kingdom Hearts? Because given how long the timeline has been for this one, I kind of can you make another one? Is it going to take 20 years? What's
They'll do little. I have a feeling little spin-offs. And that
spin-offs,
will
sure. I mean the main.
Yeah, they will do more in the main series. They've already said that they'll end this arc, but it also means a new beginning. Because I interviewed Nomura and I remember these words. So that leads me to believe why would you give it up? Because it's so profitable for Square. People go crazy over it.
Is it if it takes that long to develop?
Think of all the spin-offs they released and remasters in with that. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do with the wait, but they've
You mean the 2.8 HD final chapter prologue?
365 over 2? 4? What was the number?
I
don't remember.
No, Kim, you don't remember?
She's it has to do with numbers. I don't know.
No, I think it's 352 over, I believe
352 over 358 over 2.
358 over 2. I was close. That is not that great of a game though, so I'm not going to. Birth by Sleep is amazing. I just restarted playing Dream Drop on the PS4 recently just because I wanted to prepare for the event and see how close. And it does. It borrows a lot from what they did in Dream Drop Distance. If you played 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue and did Aqua's story, a fragmentary passage, that was a good indicator to where they were going and how they were advancing the features. So I'd say
I think I'm going to be real confused when I play this game, but I really like Disney. So
yeah, well, I like during the panel, and Andrea can attest to this. They asked him the question. They're like, "Oh, do people need to play like the previous games to enjoy this?" And basically, his answer was, "You're gonna like, if you play it, you're gonna want to play the previous games, and it's gonna make you want to play the previous games. You should play the previous games." So like, normally
So,
a developer
yeah.
is like, normally a developer bullshits it. I'm just gonna be frank and honest, and it's just like, yeah, you can totally start with this game. Like, it's completely fine, and then you realize, no, you can't. You can and you can't. If you are invested, if you're a story person, I would say this, and you need to know where everything is going. Like, don't rob yourself of playing the earlier games, especially now that they are on HD remasters. But at the same time, if you just like want, like Steimer said, love the Disney worlds and that's what you want to play, and you don't care about Sora and his gang of Goofy and
I really
Donald,
don't care about
Yeah.
Sora.
then you're
I'm sure
fine.
he's got some nice friends, but
I
I'm
mean,
mostly
He's
gonna
staring
check
at
out
you,
the Disney
Steimer.
World.
You see him back
it's
there?
it's the dumbest shit I get excited
there.
for too.
Right there.
You can get excited for it. No,
No,
absolutely
it's
be
like,
excited for it.
well, we saw like Tangled, and like Rapunzel is like overflowing with her hair, and she like freaking uses it and launches it at someone and uses it as an attack. And they were like, oh yeah, that was really hard for us to animate. Like, it took us a long time to figure out with the hair, and I'm just like, I just love the little.
No, hair's really hard to animate.
Where's
I totally
Alexa
understand.
when I need her right now?
I
That's all I'm
know.
gonna say.
She's at Nintendo, okay? Kim, I really do appreciate you giving some context though. And like, listen, I'm not hating on this game. I just like I like other people who have never played Kingdom Hearts and doesn't understand like what this emotional attachment is. I'm just like, it looks cool, I guess, but it's clearly not the game that I'm, like the most hyped for at E3 or in the coming months. But I'm definitely gonna try it out. I'm gonna give it a whirl because clearly, if it means a lot to you, it means a lot to Lexa and a lot of other people out there. There's got to be something there, and you can't just pull that kind of fandom out of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, but like
I'm down.
Like they all grew up with it though. I think that's part of it, right? Like you feel like Kim, you just mentioned like you have a Kingdom Hearts for like every milestone of your life. So I think that's gonna be something that you and I like will never be able to understand, Andrea, in that way. But like I said, I'm excited to just dick around in Disney World.
What you guys will see in it is it brings out the kid in you, like when you go to a Disney, like land, world, or wherever. It's like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I just like visiting these worlds, and like it brings you back to like your childhood imagination. I know this is really cheesy to say, and I'm not trying to come across that way.
No,
by
I
any
totally
means, but
understand
sometimes
exactly what
it's
you're saying.
great to be a kid again, and Kingdom Hearts brings that out in me more than anything else, even with its like, simple themes, which though like end up having like really interesting character arcs and really like striking moments that you wouldn't expect from it. Now, like I said, if you're into that, play the whole series. Go to Alexa's video, see which order to play it in. But also, if you're not and you just want to play this for the Disney worlds, go ahead, start with 3. I'm not.
It's mostly that I just don't have it's mostly the desire, I suppose, than the time. But I'll say the time to go back and play the other 2. Whereas I'm like, I'm fine just jumping into 3. That's okay.
Our pals over at Easy Allies, it might have been back when they were all still game trailers, made a timeline of Kingdom Hearts, which is their like documentary series where they go through the whole timeline of the franchise. And so if you want to watch something instead of play it to get caught up, it's
like an in 5 minutes video.
It's not
But
an
not
in 5 minutes video. No, it's a really well done long form piece, but it's not going to take you 100 hours.
Yeah.
That I can do. I can sit and watch that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend with some games if you can just watch the cutscenes, that's enough. But you're robbing yourself of those Disney worlds. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. The graphics weren't that good back then anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I hate, like, it's so funny because every time I talk about this series, just like this smile and this unbridled enthusiasm comes out in me like nothing else. And I don't even know what it is because normally I'd be a really jaded person at this point. Or I think sometimes I should be, but I'm not. So Kingdom
No, I
Hearts
mean,
is
people
just
call me salty about things, but when I'm at Disney World, my God,
there it is. That's what
I'm
it
living
is.
my best life.
There we go. And I have something about just Disney. I love Japan in general, so it's just like I love Final Fantasy. It's mixing so many great things together for me. So now I've totally geeked out on this, and I'm sure only the diehards are still
But
listening.
the
and
good
everybody
news
else
is that
tuned out.
hopefully if people haven't dropped off, they fast forwarded to this point and we're like done with Kingdom Hearts because we've got a lot more stuff to talk about. So other games that we've played. Now, Kim, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a complete list of embargoes in front of me. Here are the embargoes.
I will tell you.
Okay, so
we need
you
to.
look at what I'm missing. Here are the embargoes that are up as of Friday, May 25th, when this show airs. So Kingdom Hearts, obviously. I've got Days Gone and Dreams and Astrobot Rescue Mission from Sony. They might have some other PSVR stuff that's up.
Yeah, no, that stuff's all up.
All the PSVR stuff is up?
I don't know if all. I didn't play it all.
So those three for sure. Then I've got Planet Alpha, which is an indie game from Team 17. I've got Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, which is being published by Bandai Namco. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which obviously was that embargo was up last week during the reveal event. And then I've got Kids, which is an indie game that Double Fine is publishing, and it's coming to iOS. So
we all played Kids together.
Yeah. It's a really wacky game. Is there anything that I missed?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, because I believe all the embargoes I know of are after that. So sadly, there's some things we can't talk about yet.
Yeah, not quite yet.
It's okay, because that's a giant list of games.
Yeah, no, it is, and we're not going to be able to like deep dive into all of these. So let's talk about Kids since we brought that up first. So this is a really interesting title. Another like kind of really small iOS gameplay experience. It's not as small as Florence, because there's going to be multiple chapters. But the chapter that we played was like super fascinating. So it's black and white, hand drawn, and you start out as like this like little like almost like a mannequin like character. So it's like genderless.
It's the bathroom door type, like the typical bathroom door. Like,
yes. Like just like the white
shapes.
circle head and like the white body with like, and then it's like black and white. That's it. And
I was very interested in how you're going to describe this, and this does not disappoint so far.
Okay. Now, I give Steimer the credit for bringing in the bathroom analogy.
Yeah, she got it right. I wouldn't have even thought of that, but that is completely accurate.
But they're a little bit more like kind of like Sackboy like in their kind of like movements,
in their animations.
Right, they're not like stick figures. They're kind of like got like a little bit of like doll movements almost. You basically just use the glass on we were playing on an iPad. And you never really know what the mechanic is in each of the different scenes that you play in the chapter. Like maybe you're touching one of the characters, or maybe you're touching a point on the screen and the characters are moving around it. But essentially in every scene, there's like a hole in the ground that these characters like jump into.
Like lemmings.
Yeah, we're like, we don't know if they're like, are they killing themselves by throwing themselves into this hole, or are they going to like another dimension? We don't know.
I took it down there.
I took it as a metaphor for following the crowd and doing the wrong thing.
And it is. So that was so Greg Rice from Double Fine was explaining to us about this game, and kind of like where it kind of like what the themes are, and it's about kind of like groupthink and how we interact with each other and how we communicate with each other. But what's interesting about it is that there's like really not any dialogue. There's a couple of words spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Like distinctly, there was one scene where you tap on somebody and they point to another like doll character and they're like, "You did it," and then the other one goes, "No, you did it. He did it. No, you did it. She did it." He did it. And they all start like pointing at each other. And it's like, and then you just keep tapping it until they all start pointing at the same character. And then they're like, he did it, he did it, he did it. And now they're all pointing at the one character. And it's really like makes you think about like how mob mentality kind of works. And it was a really interesting game. Kim, how did you find it?
I was gonna do a really deep cut, and then I just stopped myself because my example was really it was too Ace Attorney, with no one's gonna know
You never
what
know.
that is, but kind of how Phoenix becomes a lawyer because Edgeworth defends him because everybody accuses him of something and he didn't do it, but once someone says it with the mob mentality, like it might as well be true. And so that's a really deep cut for comparison, but I was like, as Andrea is playing, I remember at one point I'm like, Andrea, don't be a part of the crowd, stand out, like don't follow, like you're sitting there, but the game, like you're following and going through, and it's interesting to say the least. And we played a good chunk of it, right?
Yeah, it was like a solid like 20 minutes. So for anybody
it was a while.
Who's wondering, it's created by a developer called Playables. And over at Pocket Gamer, they had a little write-up that says that it's an experimental project about the psychology of the group, which allows players to move with and against crowds until everyone is gone. The final products of the project will include an interactive animation, a short film, and an exhibition. And the project is led by animator Michael Frey and game designer Mario von Rickenbach, who previously worked on a short film and short game together called Plug and Play. And then Double Fine, of course, is the publisher.
Okay, can I just tell you how happy this makes me? Because sometimes, like, I play games and I'm like, I hope I'm interpreting this right. And so when you say that, I'm like, oh, I got it. Like, I got it. It didn't go over my head. Like, I understood what was going on with it. Because it's very, like, basic and simple. But then at one point, you're trying to just figure out, like, well, what are, what beyond following this crowd is going on here. So leads you to some interesting paths.
Indeed. So another game that we got to play was, how about Days Gone? So this was kind of like the first time that Days Gone was playable, at least in like a kind of a broad sense. There were quite a few people there that got hands-on. We got about 20-ish minutes with the game. And of course, this is from Sony Bend. It's another PlayStation exclusive coming to PS4. We don't have a release date for it still. I have said when this game was announced, I was like, man, another zombie game.
Yeah,
and
that's everybody's reaction.
Yeah, and I think especially with The Last of Us Part 2, also in Sony's first-party slate, going up against Naughty Dog is never a position you want to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they've proven that they're real good at making video games. And so, of course, I went into this like a little tempered. I liked what I've seen so far. The graphics look great. The gameplay looks intriguing. I don't really buy this idea that freakers are so different than zombies. But, once you actually play it, you can see in practicality how they work differently from a mechanical standpoint. Obviously, like you can kill them by any means necessary. You don't just need to use headshots, which is nice. But man, they run at you really fast. It's very much like 28 Days Later type of infected, because they're not undead. And they can open doors, which I found out, which scares the piss out of me.
Can they climb things?
Yes, they can.
Like
Why
ladders?
couldn't a zombie do that, though?
I haven't seen them climb a ladder, but I saw
They're
multiple
dumb.
climb fences.
They're dumb, but I think they can open, like, and so as it gets zombie they can open a door.
Zombies?
Or knock it down. They'll figure it out.
Well, maybe go through the door. But so I got to see like a camp area. I didn't spend too much time in it because they were like, you should just follow the main path if you want to see the most amount of the game. So I did that. I didn't really hang out in the little town hub very much. I jumped on my motorcycle and went out to find this human camp. And along the way, of course, I found freakers. And so when I got to this human camp, I had like an objective to take out every single human in the camp. There were like 11 humans. And so there were a couple of...
why were you killing humans?
Because they had
humans
like...
are more dangerous than zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
what is this?
Well, I think it's because they stole a bunch of our stuff.
Oh, okay. So it was justified human killing. I just wanted to get that
Is
out
that
there.
justified?
I don't think it is,
Capital
but
punishment.
in video games terms, that is justification, I
Sure.
guess. For
But like it's a
having
video game. Do you
mission.
really need justification to kill other things in video games? Probably not. So my goal was to take out this whole camp, to clear the camp, and then to, pick our stuff back up and then bring it back to base or whatever. And then, so I approached it. The first time I did it, they heard me or saw me because there's like a big stealth mechanic in the game, and I screwed that up, and they came at me hard and took me out really quickly. So the NPCs, no joke. You can't just pop pop and they're done.
Is there no worse feeling than completely blowing a stealth sequence?
Yes.
Because I've had that happen to me so many times in games, and I'm like, damn it! I just didn't know the guy was over there.
You know what irritates me the most is when you are snuck up behind someone and he moves just as you hit the button prompt, so then it doesn't do the stealth kill and it does a noisy melee.
You're derping. You're like, here I am. Let's take it out.
Or you get halfway through the stealth and there's no save checkpoint, and you're like, wait, I'm almost. And then you die. And
So sad.
Sorry, I just had to get that out there because I was having flashbacks to all the stealth missions I have failed in my life where I'm just like, damn it! I just didn't know that guy was over there. I didn't see that. So.
Yeah, we definitely have gone through that. So it took me 5 tries to actually get through this section. But what was neat is one of the members from Bend came over and showed me. He was like, if you go out in the woods and just fire your gun once or twice, the freakers will just find you. So it's if you're just making noise out in the wild, the freakers will just come after you. And so they came to me, and he was like, now what you got to do is lead them, run back to the camp and lead the freakers into the camp. And so I did that, and it made a really nice distraction. But I started out with 6 freakers, and by the time I got to the camp, I only had 2 freakers left. And I was like, uh-oh, there's 11 humans.
What happened to the rest of them?
They got lost in the woods. I don't know.
Oh.
Because there's a fine, delicate balance.
It sounds like crazy logic. I want to bring zombies my way. I want to put them over here with I just that's not what I would think of in a game.
You're right though. It is crazy logic because that's why I lost so many of them, because in order for them to stay together, you have to let them get really close to you. And they're clawing at you, and they're making these noises.
Nope.
And I'm just running as fast as I possibly can.
That's your instinct, right? That's what's in all of us. When something like that happens, you don't want to get close to it. You want to plan from afar. So it seems I understand why that would happen to you, being your instinct is let's stay away from these guys, but really what's the best strategy is to lure them your way, which just
Yeah.
I would never do that in real life, but it's a video game.
Yeah. But if they're infected, I've said this before, this is not a new thought, but how is leading infected and having them infect other people helpful in any way? Yes, it clears the camp out, but aren't they all gonna just turn into zombies?
Yeah.
So now you've just made an even bigger problem instead of just going around and self-killing them.
Well, my mission was to kill the humans, not to kill the freakers. So if they all turn into freakers and I could just jump on my bike and run away, mission accomplished. But I'm with you, Steimer, that the logic is not sound. So my biggest takeaway from the game so far, Greg and I were talking about it, and he seems to think it feels more like an open world game. And I was like, I don't know, man. It feels like there's definitely a lot of exploration, but there's not a lot. So far, I haven't seen a lot to do in the open world because it's just so dangerous to be out there. That I don't really want to be out there. It's not like Far Cry where you can find a fishing mini game,
They've been really
relax and have some infected fish for you.
Yeah, right.
They've been really marketing it as an open world game though, so I find it interesting to have you be like, really to me.
I mean, it is open world. You can explore, and there's a lot of places you can drive with your motorcycle. From what I've seen, and granted, like I mentioned, it's a small slice of the game that I got to see. It wasn't I wasn't trying to linger between point A and point B because I didn't want to deal with the freakers in the woods.
But you always felt that sense of danger, you're in danger, right?
Yeah, which I didn't like. And so this is my biggest gripe. And so I'm really going to be excited to hear what Britt has to say once she gets some hands-on time with this, because this is really her wheelhouse. I don't like being constantly stressed out in the game. I'm constantly stressed out. People are dying. We don't have enough food. We don't have enough water or electricity. These humans are trying to steal our shit. The freakers are always on the rise. We got zombie bears in the woods. Like, the whole game is just one giant stress ball from what I've played and what I've seen so far.
I'm glad I didn't interject when I was going to, because I'm like, I totally understand having all that stress in your life. And then you went off on like having electricity and everything. All right, I don't quite.
Wait, is this like, do you have to base manage this? Like, is there a base that you have to have supplies and stuff for?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's like State of Decay in that way, where you have to you have like a active community roster that you have to manage their wants and needs. But you're like, there's, from what I've seen, that there's fetch quests and stuff, right?
Oh,
yeah,
get rid
okay,
of
that's
fetch
fine.
quests. I freaking am so over them. I just have to
Literally
like,
every quest. It's just how
as
well they
an-
keep it up.
yeah, as an RPG fan, like, this is my biggest gripe with side quests, when they're just fetch quests that mean nothing, unless they're easy to like complete as you go along. Then it's fine. But if it's just going from point A to B back and forth, it drives me crazy. Mini rant.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, I mean that's State of Decay too, though. It's just one giant fetch quest, just one big fetch quest loop.
Okay, now
There
you
was a-
just
there was
turned
a-
me off of the game completely, Andrea.
No, it's true. But like, that was actually the most hilarious thing to me, was there was a side quest, quote unquote, for one of the characters, and it was literally like, walk across the street, do one thing, walk back to base, and I was like, what the
The best games hide that you're actually doing a fetch quest, so it doesn't feel like a fetch quest. Or it feels like you're doing something meaningful in the world, like Witcher 3, like even just going and, you know, doing a small thing could affect like whether or not you had a discount at a shop or something. So I didn't mind it there, but in certain games, it's like, God damn it.
It's like, go collect 20 pelts, and you're like,
Yeah,
wow.
that shit I'm over. I'm over that shit in my life. We don't need that anymore. We should be past that.
Yeah.
If you think of an interesting side quest, but
I
yeah.
can't wait to collect zombie bear pelts. I'm sure that'll be a thing.
Oh God, I fucking hope not. So definitely looking forward to seeing more of this title, and hopefully it changes my mind. But it's like, yeah, it made me stressed out playing Days Gone. So the Dreams demo was almost identical to what we saw at PSX last fall. I know, Kim, you sat down with Elise and you guys got a little bit more intensive of a demo than I did, but we got to play part of the demo that we saw behind closed doors before. But honestly, I still feel the same about that game from what we talked about back in December. Looks cool. The toolbox looks amazing. Media Molecule really bringing the creative innovation, but I still am like, who is this game for? Still don't know. Still waiting to see more. The campaign looks cute, but it's only about, I think they said like 3 to 5 hours of gameplay total.
Yeah, it seems like it's more of like a creative force, if that makes sense. Like, to get younger kids knowing different parts of game design, because I've had conversations with developers and they're like, oh, kids just think like game design is programming, but there's composing, there's this and that. So I think like Little Big Planet, which made its way into schools, this will definitely do that. And I think it's just really what Media Molecule does best is creativity, but without like the hook of Little Big Planet, which was like, if you don't want to create, you know, you have this campaign to play that's interesting. Here I feel like the campaign's much like, it's there because I feel like everybody would be mad if there wasn't one, so I felt like they had to do one, instead of just leaving it like it is a like creativity sandbox to me in that way of like making your own levels and compositions and everything that goes along with it. So I think it'll teach people like a more well-rounded view on game design, storytelling, all that it's not just one area. But as I'm like with you, it's like, I think it appeals, they're really trying to appeal to a younger generation. And so people who are expecting something, they feel like Little Big Planet had a bigger reach, where like everybody who picked that up found something to kind of like about it, whether it was, you know, creating or just doing the platforming, which is really solid. So I'm curious where it's going to go. But every time I see it, I'm just like, this is going to blow up in schools. I was actually at a school not too like way before I joined Game Informer. I did a whole feature on like how schools were putting video games in them and like going around like design. So like learning from failure, like all the things we do in game design, and like they had a huge classroom just full of Little Big Planet, and it's just like mind blowing to me because I was like, I wish I had that when I was a kid.
We just
And
had
so
Oregon Trail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did. We learned about stuff the hard way. Okay,
We
didn't
learned
have
about
these-
dysentery.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that we learned about dysentery
And
but,
starvation.
I'm interested to see if this picks up. And I think this is something like this game has been in development for so long, and Sony's let Media Molecule take their time with it, which I think is great. But I don't know. I don't know how it's going to do. I don't know if it's going to appeal, as Andrea said, who's the game for? I don't know. I feel like it is for a younger generation. Will that generation pick up on it? Will like schools, like I think they will pick up on it? I don't know.
This is for the aspiring creative,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. Like,
Yeah.
I find like this could very easily fit into even just a music class. Like, you can compose music in this game, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's really neat. Like
Yeah.
I said, the toolbox that they're providing, I think, is going to, once it gets into the hands of the people out there, we're gonna see.
They're
some
gonna
cool
do amazing
things.
things with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be like Little Big Planet, where you're like, holy crap, that level. So I'm excited to see what the community can do. I just hope like it has a following and community, and that people haven't lost sight of it. Kind of like how we are like, oh yeah, Dreams. Like, what's going on with that? We haven't heard about it for a while, and then all of a sudden it surfaces every few years, and you're like, oh yeah, right, that game's still there. So
Totally. So Kim, we only have we have quite a few left, but a couple of games one game that I wanted to talk about for sure was Black Ops, but just quickly, is there any of these other ones that I mentioned that you're like, ooh, I want to talk about that one?
Not in particular. I think Black Ops is probably the next direction you want to go in with those. Like, the games were fine that we played, but
Yeah.
they don't have that appeal like the other ones do, for sure.
Yeah, I just quickly will say about Astrobot Rescue Mission, which is a PlayStation VR game. So if you guys played the PlayStation Eye camera with the little robots, I think was called
Fuck, what was that called? I know what you're talking about. Playroom or
the
play
Playroom.
something?
Yeah, the Playroom.
Playroom.
Which is was a hit with my nephews when I brought my PS4 home, and then I ultimately got my dad one. They loved playing, like flinging the little robots from the touchpad and all the cool stuff that did with the PlayStation Eye. So those robots return in Astrobot Rescue Mission. So this is a platformer, but it's got fixed camera. So you pilot the little robot guy, and it's an action platformer, so you can like double jump. Well, it's not really a double jump. You have like little jets in your feet. So you jump, and then you like have the jets, and then you have like a punch, and then you hold down for a heavy punch because there's like little enemies. And much like Moss, where you can kind of move your head around to see where to platform next and where like the coins and stuff are. It felt really good in VR. The cute factor was incredible. So you go through each level to rescue these other bots that are like hidden throughout the level. When you go to find them, they're all like in these really kind of precarious positions, and they're like shivering and like scared, and like you go up there and you like rescue them, and then you save them, and then they fly up in VR in front of your face, and then they go down into the controller that you're holding, and then they like wave from the touchpad. It was just like the whole experience was so awesome in the sense that that's the kind of VR experience that I really like. We played several VR games during Judges Week, and I got sick during almost all of them. And it was super frustrating because I don't normally get sick in VR, but I also don't spend a lot of time in VR, probably because I get
Same
sick
here.
in VR. But this game, I was seated in a chair, and because the camera was fixed, I didn't have any nausea problems at all. And I just like the cute factor in this game is so fantastic. It kind of makes me a little bummed that, you have to be, I think, 13 to wear PlayStation VR because of how wide apart your eyes are set on your skull.
Think of that. Oh yeah.
I think that's the age limit that you can. Otherwise, what happens is because kids' faces are so small, they can't properly focus in the lenses.
That actually makes sense. I've just never thought that there is an age. I guess I knew it, but I didn't at that point.
I guess
so.
if you have like a really large child, maybe you could try it on a younger
Well,
age.
it doesn't. VR is impossible to get to fit on my head correctly, and I'm just like, what the heck? Like, I can never get it right, and I'm just like, I feel bad for anybody with like who's smaller, who's trying to like get this thing to wear okay on it. But I got a question for you guys. How do you feel about VR right now? Because it was like a hot topic about a year ago, and everyone was like, this is going to be like the 90s all over again, where it makes its appearance, then pops off.
You mean like Virtual
Sony-
Boy?
What?
You mean like Virtual Boy?
No, when it was making its way into arcades.
Oh.
Yeah. It never took off the way people thought it would. And so I think now they're worried that the same fate. But I think it's interesting that Sony has not doesn't seem to have given up on it. They're still really supporting it with all these new interesting games coming out. I know like it hasn't probably sold to the degree that they'd want it to. It's probably sold enough, but I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. Like, I still don't want to be in a VR headset. I don't know. When I come home from work, I don't want to put a headset
You don't want to
on.
plug into the Matrix?
Yes, exactly. And I've been trying to like be open about it, and so every time there's demos, I try them, and I'm like, okay, but I can never spend more than like 10 minutes in these games before I'm like, yeah, that's enough.
I see what you're saying. I obviously haven't, like, I'm not a VR enthusiast. We have played VR games before, and, you know, we have the PSVR here. We have an Oculus and a Rift, or excuse me, and an HTC Vive. But I think that it's serving a niche community, and it's going to continue to serve a niche community until we see more experiences in VR that aren't necessarily games. Because I think we're just now getting to a place where games are doing cool things that are, you know, fully fleshed out ideas versus like, here's like a 15-minute a Spider-Man experience to go along with Spider-Man Homecoming, right?
Like, a lot of those first ideas were very much like testing grounds and not, you know.
Yeah, like
to,
glorified tech demos, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, yeah, so I think the best is yet to come for VR. I don't think that we're done with VR yet. I think it's not like as big of a fad as 3D gaming was, because I remember that kind of came and went pretty quickly. And I think that, you know, VR.
We're all laughing.
I mean, it did, right? Like, I still have the Sony monitor that I got, that Sony sent to me, the PlayStation monitor that's 3D, that I played Mortal Kombat 9 in 3D on. You know, so it's like, I don't think it's going to go that way. I think it's going to hang around for a while, mostly because so many people have spent billions of dollars in the virtual reality space. And we're seeing a lot of augmented reality stuff happening too, but where it's going, I don't know. I think that's a conversation for another time, quite frankly.
I'm
Kim,
sorry, I'm asking the hard questions.
Kim, you're distracting me from Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Well, you were talking about VR. I was like, oh, what are your thoughts on it? I was interested, but let's go Call of Duty now.
Did you get to play?
No.
You didn't. Okay, so I was the only one that got to play. So obviously they did this giant Activision reveal event, much like the Destiny 2 event that Steimer came with me to. That was like, I think, Steimer, that was the first thing you and I did for What's Good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that
Are
was
you
our
guys big
first
Destiny
episode.
fans?
Yes.
She's a much bigger Destiny fan than I am. I'm like a casual Destiny fan.
That's how I am.
Yeah, no, I love Destiny. I mean, I'm mad at it sometimes, but I still love it. It's a
I love to
complicated
hate
relationship.
Destiny.
So Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Back with Treyarch, back in the future, which is cool. No single player. Instead, getting 3 separate zombies campaigns and Blackout, the battle royale that we all knew was coming. Plus, of course, you know, multiplayer modes. So we got an hour of hands-on time, which was nice. And blessedly, they pitted us against other judges. When I sat down and I did an Instagram story, Justine and Nadeshot were on my team. And I was like, oh, sweet. I've got some ringers on my team. This is great. because T Martin was sitting behind me, and I was like, I don't want to go play over there. He's like, oh, why don't you guys want to come play over on this side? And I was like, no, please, no, I don't want to play against you. And so they obviously had like a bunch of like high level players there, but so they pitted all the judges against us, or against. Actually, Andy McNamara was on my team.
I heard he was doing really well.
He did pretty good.
Okay, I was gonna say, was Dan Tack lying on his Twitter because he's like, Andy Mack's tearing it up.
No, he wasn't. We did good. It was pretty evenly matched. So we did 4 different multiplayer modes. Didn't get to play zombies. Didn't get to play blackout. But the first thing that I really loved about the new Call of Duty was how they slowed it down. Call of Duty, obviously known for like fast-paced Twitch shooting, like no scoping, like right, like all of the memes about Call of Duty players. I'm super glad that they made players a little bit hardier, meaning it takes more bullets to take a player down, meaning accuracy is important. Headshots are more important. Critical hits are more important.
Suck at this game. Sorry.
No, you say that, but what's great about it is when you're pitted in, when you're match made in with players of your caliber that are like good players but not excellent players, but also aren't garbage players. You're like, yeah, I know how to hold a gun in first person shooters. I felt like I had a fighting chance versus every other time I've been to an Activision Call of Duty reveal event. I felt like I just got slaughtered and I was just respawning and running back to the action the whole time during the whole demo. And I didn't feel that way this time. And I think obviously it helped that we played Hardpoint, we played Domination. We played a couple other modes and we obviously did team deathmatch at the end, for old time's sake. And it felt like I had a fighting chance. And I liked the specialties. So the specialty classes are back. From the previous Call of Duty, and they have 2 new specialties. The one that I really enjoyed playing was Recon. So Recon has a class ability that you can either choose to use or you can choose to customize if you don't like the class ability.
That's interesting.
Yeah, which I thought was a really nice way for you to be kind of flexible with your play style. If you're like, hey, I like this part of the class, but this part of the class I want to swap out. The create a class system in Call of Duty is very robust. And I was able to use I had 2 specials. So one was I was able to throw like a dart on the wall and it acted like a little radar wherever I would throw it. So it would reveal enemy positions in like a certain radius. And so when we were playing Domination, it was easy for me to just kind of like put it at the different points. So when I was defending, I could just like see when people were approaching. And then like my super ability, I'm using that in air quotes because the refresh time is like super long on those.
Okay.
And so you really have to be thoughtful about how you use them. And if you're using the girl with the fancy grenade launcher, her animation takes a really long time to pull that thing out. So be careful where you're pulling it out because... Wait, hold on. I couldn't help myself.
What she said.
I couldn't help myself.
Hey!
Because, you could get shot while you're pulling it out. It happens. His ability, the Recon class specialist, was to be able to tag everybody through walls. So you click it, and then like you can see everyone's position on the map, like in real time, like not just on the radar, which is nice. But it was fun. The guns felt great, of course. I mean, Treyarch knows what they're doing when it comes to first person shooting mechanics, and I'm excited to check it out. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not sad a little bit inside that there's no single player campaign because I really loved doing the campaign, but it makes sense that they're leaning into zombies, which is a fan favorite mode, which is something that a lot of their base really loves. And they're giving not 1, but 3 zombies campaigns. I do hate that, like, I suck at zombies. And you can't really do zombies by yourself.
That's the only mode I can play, Andrea.
Yeah, you want to play? Well, we could play together. I mean, I've tried playing zombies solo. It is not a fun time.
Oh no, I'll play it with you. This is gonna make me sound like a dork. I don't know if I should share this, but I was walking home. So I'm walking home today, and I was just thinking about this Call of Duty, and I didn't even know we were going to talk about it on this podcast because we hadn't talked beforehand. And I was like, you know what? I get why they didn't do a single player campaign, because if you spend all that time on a campaign, people play it once, then they're done with it. But like the experience that people keep coming back to is that multiplayer. And like, why wouldn't you spend the time refining it? Although I am totally like a single player gal, heart and heart, but I can understand why they chose to like really focus in on those modes instead of spending the time, because I just think the last few campaigns have not been that great either. So
I have not finished a campaign since Modern Warfare 2.
yes, thank you.
I've started
Thank
other
you.
ones, but I've never finished them.
Yeah, they're not
Um,
as interesting. That was like the last one that I really got into Call of Duty, and so when we joke around with stuff, I'm like, I used to play them. I just I've tried to get back into the series. It's just not. I haven't been like engaged with it in the way that I was before.
Yeah, I think this was a smart move, and I'm like happy that they're just doing more zombies. I've actually never even played the zombies mode, but I know that like playing that with a group of friends is gonna be fun.
It's so fun. It is. Like that was one thing I didn't expect to like, because as we know, I grew up on RPGs, obviously, so I didn't delve into shooters that much. But I started to like back in like more PS2, PS3, going into those two eras, and one of my friends was really into it and was like, you know what, you should just try zombies. That'll be really. And I'm like, this is so fun. Like, I don't know why I didn't try this sooner. Just a really good way to let off some steam too, right after a hard day of work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I also want to make sure to speak to the rumors. So there was a lot of rumors floating around that Treyarch started a single player campaign and then scrapped it because it just wasn't working out or wasn't going to come to fruition, and the plan wasn't coming together. And Eurogamer has since debunked this. They spoke with Dan Bunting over at who's the co-studio head at Treyarch, and he said, going back to the very beginning of Black Ops 4 development, we never set out to make a traditional campaign. We had always started from the place of, we're going to make something different with this game that was going to be inspired by how our community was interacting with Black Ops 3 and the games over the years. We see more and more players spending more time with multiplayer and zombies, not just in the game, but out of the game, streaming and talking about it in forums. It's generated a really huge crowd response. The decision was we wanted to make a different style of game this time. Throughout the course of the development, we tried a lot of ideas, a lot of things that challenge convention that might be a different kind of twist on how we might think of a Call of Duty game or a Black Ops game in the past. As we did that, some things make it and some things don't. The game we're representing today really represents the best of the ideas that we have run through the gauntlet of game development, which is pretty typical for how we do things.
And I don't think you can judge the game just because it doesn't have, like, people are like, oh, I'm so mad it doesn't have a single player game campaign rather, and I'm just like, I don't know, play the game first before you decide whether or not that's like the end all be all for you.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what blackout mode will be.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
How they handle it.
It sounds really ambitious, but if anybody can pull it off, it's Activision and Treyarch. So I think,
And there are billions of other studios that help them.
right? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It takes a village, right? I think that it's going to be a big challenger. So I tweeted and was one of like the most responses to a tweet I've had in a really long time, that I think that PUBG is in trouble and that Fortnite will be fine because they service a very specific audience, and the gameplay and the look and the feel of that battle royale is much more in a separate camp of players than PUBG is. And I got a very interesting selection of responses. Some people like outright were like, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, PUBG is the fucking best. And I was like, cool. And then other people were like, yeah, no, PUBG better, be running scared. And other people were like, I don't know, Fortnite may not make it once battle royale becomes to all the shooters. Like, they're like, once Red Dead launches their battle royale, everyone's done for. And so it's like, well, it's interesting, but I think if you take the really refined, polished first-person shooting mechanics of a Call of Duty game, really like industry standard for FPS, and put that in the most popular genre that's out right now, I think that's kind of a recipe for success, especially when you say, hey, we're going to let you play as like all of these characters across all of these different Call of Duty games, zombies characters, and you're going to be able to have all of these cool customizable things. And then you've got these land, sea, and air vehicles. Obviously PUBG has vehicles too, but it's going to be interesting to see how the market share is going to be pulled away from games like PUBG and Fortnite.
I'm just so happy you said that, because that's like that's a bold statement to make. But even I've noticed like PUBG does not have as much, I'm sure lots of people are still playing it, but not as much. They're not talking about it as much as they were. Like,
It's lost some buzz.
it has
I
lost a
think
lot
if
of
they
buzz.
sucked it up and went free to play, like they'd get some of it back.
Mhm.
But as long as they're still like have that paywall to get in, I mean, I guess their mobile is free to play. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
really know what PUBG's doing.
Andrea's saying to me completely makes sense, and it's hard to put statements like that out there because you are gonna get people who are gonna be like, "What the heck are you talking about?" Because they're dedicated to one game versus another. So I think that's a really cool observation that you made, and I'm glad you had the guts to go out there and say it out loud, because we all think things and we're like, should I?
I just think I'll be fascinated to see how that one does and how Battlefield does, because traditionally, obviously, like, there's not that many right now, but these battle royale games are third person, and I think it helps in terms of visualization and just being able to like get a sense of where you are. And I feel so much more claustrophobic whenever I play a first person game, that I'm curious to see how this style, where you do need to be aware of like literally everything around you, will translate to something that is first person.
I don't know. Think about these giant Battlefield modes that already exist with like the 64 players. I mean,
That's true.
They're almost there. The maps are gigantic in Battlefield, and you got the crazy destructible environments. Plus like all of the ridiculous vehicles that are in Battlefield games. I don't know. I think it could work. Obviously, there is no battle royale announced for Battlefield as of this moment. It's part of our E3 predictions. I can't remember. Do you remember what the 8-Ball said about it?
No, I don't remember.
I had to go to Britt. Britt has a list.
I mean, no, we just shook the 8-Ball so many times that there's no way I would be able to remember one of those things.
When do you think people, this is just like, get tired of Battle Royale? Do you think it ever happens, or it's going to be like one of those?
Oh, it'll fatigue out for sure. Everything does. There's always a bubble that tends to, even if it doesn't burst, it like slightly withers away a little bit. But then there's also the point of like, it's sort of, I would see Fortnite, for instance, as being similar to World of Warcraft in that like people are like, it's dying, and you're like, no, it's just that so many people were playing it that yes, there's less of them now, but it's still a massive number of people playing this game. So I think Fortnite will do something similar. I don't know about PUBG, to be quite honest with you. I think it will retain its own little player base, because I think some people just really fucking love that game. But I think, Battlefield and Call of Duty, as always, are going to be the one, like, those two are going to be the one that are battling it out. I don't know that there's going to be enough room for two of that particular style. So I think whichever one comes out of the gate and does it better will have the healthier community.
That's going to be the debate and the competition coming up in fall, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And throw Cowboys in that mix, and it's going to be a roaring good time.
Man.
All right. Well, I definitely want to play zombies with you, Kim. We're going to make that happen.
What about me? Because I also want to play zombies.
Oh, yeah. No, we need 4 people. So that's you, me, Britt, and Kim.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Nice.
I am all up for it.
We will crush all of the things with the red eyes. Okay, well, this has been a long one. Thanks for hanging in there with us, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about a lot of games, and guess what? We're in the runway to E3. We'll have more games to talk about. Some more embargoes will be lifted by next week, and we will have Brandon Jones on the show from Easy Allies. He also was at Judges Week. And Britt will be back from Alaska. Hopefully. She didn't get eaten by like a polar bear or anything. Grizzly bear. That's what's in Alaska.
Grizzly bear. I'm like, darn.
The wrong bear.
Man.
There's wild animals that have teeth. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And then, of course, don't forget, we will be at E3 on the Facebook Live stage at their live studio in the West Hall lobby. More details I will bring to you guys next week and then the following week as we get closer and closer to the Electronic Entertainment Expo. We still haven't decided if we're going to do some kind of a meetup. I don't know when. I'm looking at my calendar going, I don't know when I'm going to eat or sleep. This is a problem that I should fix.
I don't know that a meetup will be possible during E3.
Yeah, maybe like the Monday before? No, probably not. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Probably not. This is probably the thing. Okay, so I'm about to wrap up here. Kim, as we mentioned, you do work for Game Informer. Great work. Not only do you have your Detroit Become Human review up at GameInformer.com, you also have your Kingdom Hearts 3 preview piece. Do you have any other cool stuff that you want to pimp, or any other channels or anything you want to promote?
Oh gosh, I mean, I have my own RPG column. I write in that every other week, which is pretty much how I feel, going on about the genre, stating like the ups and downs and what I'd like to see about it and what I'm excited for. So you can check that out at the site. It's right under columns. So there's nothing more than that. If you read our recent issue, which has Days Gone on the cover, I have a really cool feature that I'm very proud of. And I don't say this often because I'm a perfectionist. I'm very hard on myself, but it's about how more women are getting, we're giving more opportunities to women to get into gaming, teaching them at a younger age what gaming is about. And it's not so much this, male dominated hobby anymore, and what programs are out there for girls who are looking to get into it. So like, Girls Make Games, I talked to Pixels in Montreal. I talked to, She Talks Games from Facebook with Andrea as a part of. It's amazing to see all the initiatives going on, and I think that's great. I think it's easy to lose sight and say like, oh, girls don't game, but stats and everything else is, and I mean, we're all here proof, right? We were talking about it. So it's just an article that I think was important to touch on and give people resources of places they can go. So you can check that out in the most recent issue. That's it for me. I don't like pimping much, but that was a great thing to pimp.
I'm happy you did. Well, that's it for us, I guess. Steimer, do you have any parting thoughts before we say goodbye?
Steimer, do you have anything you want to pimp?
No, but I feel like we probably shouldn't use that word.
Yeah, this is a good point you're making. We'll have to think of another word. Write us in.
Promote.
Promote is so boring, though.
It is. Do you have anything you want to sizzle, sparkle? I don't know. I'm tired
I like
and hungry.
That.
So
Do you have anything you want to sparkle? Well, let's use that from now on. Perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for us on What's Good Games. As always, we greatly appreciate it if you can take some time out of your busy schedule to subscribe at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames, to hit that subscribe button on your podcast app, wherever platform you go to listen to us. If you really want to go the extra mile and leave us a review, that also genuinely helps us in rankings and discoverability and helping new people find the podcast. We definitely love it from the bottom of our hearts when you guys make time to do those things. So thank you to everyone who has gone and done that. And if you haven't, and if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes, you have your phone open right now, I bet. Just, go to iTunes and leave us a little review, or go to the podcast app.
I mean, I was to say, people keep supporting these girls. They work really hard. They do awesome work. Like, I am always fascinated by what you guys post, and whether it's a funny video that Britt did or you guys just hanging out, and you guys have really good conversations. So give them all the support that you can. If you're here listening from Game Informer from Kim says, learn more about them. I just talked in third person. I need to get the fuck out of here.
Thank you so much, Kim, for being our awesome guest this week. Britt will be back next week. Brandon Jones is joining us next week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody. We love you. Mwah. Goodbye.